Good morning, everyone. Good morning. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
In the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
This is Dr. Mitchell Mathes.
Yeah, if you're new here, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show that I co-host, and we're live on the radio on a whole bunch of radio stations every morning in Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. here in Florida. And we take calls from our radio listeners, and we stream live on YouTube while we're on the radio. This is the most conservative and pro-Donald Trump radio show you will find anywhere.
8893, that's 561-320-8893.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt really soft in the store? But when you go to use it, it's not very absorbent. It's basically a towel that's leaving you.
My cord is tangled.
Mike Lindell, Trump supporter and inventor of MyPillow, has developed a towel that actually works. Towels.
Well, thank you, Venman.
MyPillow is debuting.
I told you, my wife bought me, like, all new shirts and stuff because she said I dress too much like a bum.
And right now, when you buy one set, you get another set free. But you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee.
Costa Rica.
Free on the 6-piece set off MyPillow towels. Just go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special, and enter the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Or call them directly, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. That's MyPillow.com.
Oh, I still have them.
Code K-A-N-E. Kane.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Peter Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution?
Oh no, I still have my Star Wars shirts. I just don't wear them every day. My wife is getting on me about that.
Throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll free 1-855-FLA-3788.
All right, here we go. My wires are all tangled.
Longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE 1.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's 5 minutes after 6 in the morning, and we are live. It's Thursday morning, February 18th, 2021. And, of course, we'll talk about the death of Rush. I want to take your calls on that, because I know everybody's got Rush experiences, and a lot of you will want to share them, and hopefully they're interesting experiences. And, also, if there's anyone in this listening audience that has ever called in and gotten on the air from Rush, I'd be interested in hearing from you and what that experience was like for you. But we'll talk about that, as well as the reemergence into society of President Trump, who just did a whole bunch of interviews yesterday. When I heard about the passing of Rush yesterday, I was at the beach right down the street from the radio station. My wife had a doctor's appointment, and after the appointment, it was very quick. We went down to the beach, and we were at the beach, and then we started getting phone calls and text messages and DMs and telling us that Rush had passed, because we weren't listening to the radio or really taking a 10-minute break from our phones and social media, and then we're getting all these messages. I'm like, what is going on? Who's calling? Who's texting? What are all these DMs about? And it was, the passing of Rush. And I turned it on, and I went and I caught the end of Rush's wife's just really sad message there, announcing everything. And I did do a live stream from home last night on my YouTube channel that was about 2 hours long, talking about it. But, the thing about, there's a lot to say about Rush, there's no doubt about it. But, what happened with Rush and his success and his popularity, it was a couple of things that made him super big. I mean, really big. One was, of course, the fairness doctrine. See, Ronald Reagan did away with the fairness doctrine. A lot of people don't know about this. But the fairness doctrine was something that the Democrats put in place that required radio stations and TV stations to offer a counterpoint of view to everything that was said. So what that means is, under the fairness doctrine, which no longer exists, thank you so much, Ronald Reagan, but when the fairness doctrine was in place, like here we are, we're talking, conservative program here, we're talking about conservative ideas and President Trump, right, for 3 hours a day. That, under the fairness doctrine, the radio station would be required to have a liberal viewpoint and a pro-Biden person for 3 hours too, equal time. And that made conservative talk radio very, very difficult. It existed, it existed. Make no mistake about it. But it didn't become huge until the fairness doctrine was gone. And that's a reality. I mean, even when Steve, back in the Joe Pine days, Joe Pine was a conservative guy on the radio in the 60s, in 1960, during the Kennedy presidency. But his radio show was mostly interviews. It wasn't talking like this in editorial content. Because of the fairness doctrine, it was very difficult. And the fairness doctrine was ended by Ronald Reagan. That's when talk radio really grew, because basically what was on the radio, for the most part, on talk radio during the fairness doctrine were cooking shows, people talking about recipes, advice shows like Dr. Laura and other things, and that was it. You couldn't do this type of talk. And that's, but the main thing that could you imagine having to have somebody here for 3 hours with us promoting Biden because we're talking about Trump? I mean, it's insanity, right? Democrats tried to bring the fairness doctrine back when Obama first got elected. And it failed, thankfully. The thing about Rush, though, when Rush became a superstar, when I first heard about Rush, was really, a little bit before he became super famous. But what made Rush a household name everywhere was really being on the air as a conservative during the Clinton era. That's when Rush Limbaugh really exploded. I remember here in South Florida, Rush was, when he was first on the air in South Florida during the syndicated show, it wasn't on one of the news talk stations. It was on the sports talk station. It was on, my recollection is WQAM, the sports talk station, is what I remember him being on, which was really strange because it was sports talk and they had Rush on. That's my memory. I could be wrong about that if anybody out there knows, but I remember him, for some reason, it stands out in my mind that he was on WQAM for a little while. That's, if somebody out there remembers differently, let me know. But my memory is pretty good about things like that. But when the Clintons came in is when Rush exploded and became a household name. And thankfully so, because things changed, talk radio changed then, and also the Clintons were exposed. And one of the things that Rush did, I know everyone's saying he's great, he's wonderful, all these things are true, but a lot of vague generalities. I think what Rush did was make conservatism like cool and hip and mainstream. And as much as we despise the Clintons, I was wondering yesterday, do you think, and I'll ask you guys this, do you think Rush would have been the superstar that he is today if H.W. Bush would have won re-election in '92 and Clinton never became president? He'd be around and been successful, but I really, the Clinton years, me personally, that was the best time for Rush. And maybe it was because I've never really heard someone talk quite that way about the guy that was in the White House at that particular time. I'm not sure, but that was some of my favorite time with the Rush Limbaugh show, was the Clinton years. No doubt about that. It was pretty fun stuff. But I heard Howard Stern say something once years ago on an interview that is so not true. And I don't know if he would hold by this today. I don't know what he thinks. This was many years ago. This was like 20 years ago. So, I don't want to judge Howard Stern on something he said 20 years ago. It's crazy. But I'll just tell you something he said. when Rush became a huge superstar, everyone was comparing him and Howard Stern. And I saw Howard Stern. He was asked about this, and he said, "I'm on in Morning Drive, and I'm number one everywhere, you know." And he's on in the middle of the day. Anyone can be on in the middle of the day. No one's listening and be number one. That is not true. And you know what? Rush Limbaugh. If you think about this now, people have no idea what goes into a talk radio show. They think you come in, you talk for 3 hours, that's it. I promise you. First off, it's an exhausting thing to do. When I get off the air, I am wiped, and most people are. And it involves a lot of preparation before and after. There's a whole business end of it that you know about, meetings and things like this. And Rush met with sponsors, was involved in business meetings all the time, and regularly would have meetings, like special private meetings here. And I'm sure he did this in other markets around the country, but they would have special private meetings with Rush and his sponsors. And which is a very unusual thing to do, the level that he did, and he would do. So he was pretty involved. And I've had multiple people that are station managers and have been in the past tell me something totally independent about Rush, which lends me to believe that it's true, because I've heard this from multiple people that didn't really have any contact with one another. When he was first starting to grow in syndication, he would call station managers personally and pitch to get his show picked up on that station. So he put a lot of hard work into that. People just think it's easy and it's simple, and somebody that's a general manager somewhere turns you on, and then you're on the air and you're on all these stations, and it's just you walk in, you do it, and you're done. A lot of work goes into it. The reason it looks easy is because so good at it. And I was talking on my live stream on YouTube last night. I've listened to Rush more in the last year than probably ever, when the announcement came about his health. And it was amazing to me how well he sounded on the air. It not only did he not sound sick, he's going through, you know what he was going through. I don't have to tell you, and it's a mental distraction. And not only did he sound healthy as a horse, everything he talked about on the air, he had great insight, great hooks, analysis, and everything was top tier stuff. And to do that for 3 hours when he's going through, forgetting about what the treatments do to you physically, which is terrible. I mean, you ever know anyone that's gone through cancer treatments? It's oh man, some people say they're like, enough, it can't handle it anymore. It takes your energy away. It does all everything it does. I don't have to tell you guys. To go and do a 3-hour radio show when you're going through that, what it does to you physically, mentally what you're going through because you've gotten this terrible diagnosis, and to be able to go on the air sounding as if you're healthy and do an incredible show with incredible insight on the issues of the day, that is an amazing feat that not many people could do. And it's absolutely amazing. And he did it until he couldn't do it anymore. So that's pretty amazing. But, he did make conservatism mainstream and cool, and transformed not just talk radio, but what's on the internet right now. If it were not for the success of Rush, Breitbart wouldn't be around, Project Veritas wouldn't be around, Drudge wouldn't have been around. When Drudge had the huge, when Drudge was put on the map, when he had the Monica Lewinsky story, remember, it was just a Hollywood gossip piece of a website before the Lewinsky story. Rush is the one that made that story on Drudge the talk of the nation. So the Drudge Report, I'll tell you what, even these liberals, some of these liberals that are saying terrible things, like the Huffington Post, oh my goodness, the Huffington Post, Breitbart, all these conservative things online would not exist if it were not for Rush making conservatism cool, hip, and spreading it around. And that's true. I mean, that's a reality. I mean, that's some legacy, and I don't think I was listening to a lot of people talk about him. They didn't really get into that aspect of it, but I would say that that's pretty true. So let me take our first break of the day. It's Thursday. Your thoughts on Rush certainly are welcome on the program, and your thoughts about him in any way whatsoever are welcome on the program. I don't mean good or bad. What I mean is, whatever your experience is, whatever you're feeling, whatever emotions you have, you're welcome to call in. And also, if there's anyone out there who was ever called in and got on the air with Rush, I'd like to hear from you too. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. We got a lot more to talk about too, so don't go anywhere. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most
Your
cars.
favorite radio personality, Brian. What about me? We got the same name.
And he will give you a great low price.
I'm just
right
kidding.
Over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
I'm Dr. Janae.
I'm Alan Knight.
You love listening to Steve Kane and Brian Craig for your daily dose of political pandemonium. Now you need a cure for the resulting anxiety and depression. Join us for the perfect prescription to help you cope with the world.
I'm just teasing,
Saturday
Brian.
mornings at 11 and Sunday nights at 11.
If you want answers about love, anger, pain, and relationships, join us for your chance to call in and share your stories, tears, or laughs. Take the opportunity to tell me what's on your mind.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt really soft in the store, but when you go to use it, it's not very absorbent? It's basically a towel that's leaving you out to dry. Mike Lindell, Trump supporter and inventor of
Steve Kane Show. Hey, Richie. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Steve Kane Show. Hold on.
variety of colors, and right now, when you buy one set, you get another set free. But you gotta use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Go to MyPillow.com. Click on the radio listener specials. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get the buy one, get one free on the 6-piece set off MyPillow towels, just go to MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special, and enter the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Or call them directly, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. That's MyPillow.com, promo code K-A-N-E. Kane.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the passing of Rush, and President Trump came back out on the scene yesterday. We'll talk about that as well. All right, first call of the day on line number one, Richie the bus driver. Hey, Richie.
Yeah, good morning. You know, it's a sad day for a lot of people. Now, I'm going to be honest, I do listen to Rush for the last 5-6 years, practically at all. But as a bus driver, when I used to come home from work, I used to listen to him every day in the car on the way to my house. And I look forward to that. And he's the first, and this is out there for everyone to know, he's the first conservative talk show host that actually beat this stinking cancer of canceled culture that's going on in this country right now. He fought these people to the teeth, and he wouldn't put up with their garbage. Let me tell you what he tried to do back in 2009. He was a big sports guy, and he was on QAM for a time.
Yeah, I thought so.
They didn't like the fact that he was taking up their sports talk. Okay, he loves sports. He tried to buy the St. Louis Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I remember that. He was going to be, I guess, I don't know if a minority owner or something.
So proud. And
Yeah.
Roger Goodell, and it's basically a black league at that time also. And the players and the racial pimps stopped them from buying. They blocked them from buying.
Yeah, that was outrageous. And I remember when they knocked him off of ESPN because he said something that was true about a quarterback getting too much attention beyond his abilities because of him being a minority. Yeah.
Exactly. This is what's going on today.
See, you know, when Stern said, "Oh, anybody can be on in the middle of the day and do," you know, Stern doesn't have the pressures against him that Rush did. You know, I was listening to Rush a couple weeks ago, and it was after the Capitol breach, and I think it was his first show after the Capitol breach, and he said, "We have to watch what we say, choose our words very carefully, because they are listening and monitoring this program to see if we say one wrong syllable." And he's had to deal with that since '92. Yeah, since the Clintons, really. He's had to deal with that. Every day they monitor him. There was a whole organization, Media Matters, that basically was formed just to monitor everything he said to try to put him out of business.
He had to deal with the Clintons, by the way. There was a countdown of how many days left in the administration. It was funny, you know. And he had women used to call him up, and he you know, not everybody got offended that he said feminazis, you know, because this was the women that, you know, they
all these things were it was humor, you know, talent on loan from God. All these things, 99.8% right or whatever that is. You know, it's called jokes, which liberals have no sense of humor.
That's where Donald Trump was basically the same thing in a political sense. I mean, Donald Trump had to put up with this garbage. People should be aware, though. Can you imagine that you talk about racism and systemic racism, which is a fake deal in this country. You talk about that with Rush Limbaugh. They actually were racist to Rush Limbaugh. It was disgusting. The man had the money. He loved the sport. And there were football players that loved him that couldn't even express.
Yeah, and you know, he was he was a huge sports fan, huge football guy, and you know. But you know, the thing about the left, people don't understand what type of pressures. I mean, look at, I'm not going to read the disgusting things that they're saying about Rush on the radio this morning because, because I'm not going to utter those words. But you guys, you're going to hear a lot of it. But the things that the Huffington Post and Joy Reid and all these celebrities on Twitter are saying, you know, about Rush Limbaugh, these are godless, disgusting, terrible. Just people. I mean, it's the devil. I mean, it's just dark. It's not you know. And I've never seen people. What person did Rush Limbaugh ever hurt?
Well, let me tell you. Ingram last night said he took her to dinner. She said he was such a wonderful man, and he said, "Laura, I want to buy you a bottle of wine." And she said, "What?" And he went and he bought an expensive bottle of wine. When the waitress came over to the table to open up the wine, he said, "Thank you very much," and he gave her a $2,000 tip in front of Laura Ingram.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I've heard stories like that in the local news about him at the restaurants in Palm Beach, and I'll tell you, I heard Mark Levin say that he, about 20 years ago, Levin had a heart attack, and I guess he didn't have a lot of money at the time, and Rush told him to go to the Cleveland Clinic. He says, "I can't afford it." Rush told him go and covered his hospital bill.
A decent, good man that was marked just like President Trump, that they try to trash every day, and it's just a disgusting thing that's going on in this country.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, let me tell you something, and I don't want this point to go. I mean, who did Rush Limbaugh ever hurt? I'm not talking about someone's feelings, you know, because they don't like people that disagree with them. I mean,
Rush told the people of color in this country, it's better to feel good and get work than get handouts. And that's the truth. And the truth sometimes hurts, but the fact of the matter is they trashed them for this. I mean, it's really ridiculous. I mean, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, and you hear these stories of charity that you never have heard before, that I'm sure we'll hear more of because people will be talking more now, you know what I mean? They'll be doing interviews and things.
Another one that talked to people that I mean, they were in awe when I heard when they met him, he treated them with dignity. And his dying bed, he actually said thank you to all the nurses and all the other hospital staff, the lower end people that would take care of him. He thanked everybody at the hospital just before he passed.
Yeah.
And great man, and thank you for.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, these liberals that are saying these terrible things. I mean, we're talking about mainstream people. NBC News, Huffington Post, a lot of the famous liberal, so-called tolerant left. I mean, I'm not going to read these things on the air or play them because I don't think it's appropriate. But I hope you guys see them online, because you need to understand what the left are all about. They're evil, godless people.
Last thing I'm going to say, I hope Weezy would call up, because even if she didn't listen, the question you should ask her is, would it be a racist thing to deny somebody like who you don't like, maybe Reverend Al Sharpton, if he wanted to buy a National Football League team and he was denied because of the color of his skin?
Well, Rush was denied because of his opinions. They didn't like his opinions.
Sharpton has other opinions.
Yeah.
Said Paula.
Yeah. All right, Richie. Appreciate good question. Appreciate the call. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Let me take one more call before we break. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Yeah, this is Mark. How you doing?
All right, Mark.
Hey, you said who did Rush Limbaugh ever hurt?
Mm-hmm.
About the maid. Yeah, who did he hurt? You said who did Rush Limbaugh ever hurt?
Yeah.
How about the maid he sent to the parking lot to pick up his illegal pills?
On
the wrist for 30 days.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second here. You know, you're talking about the substance abuse problem that Rush had many years ago that he overcame. You think he got a slap on the wrist?
Yeah, 30 days.
Uh-huh. No, he didn't get a slap on the wrist. He did not get a slap on the wrist. He lost his hearing. The man went deaf from that addiction. The pills caused him to lose his hearing. He had that cochlear implant for the rest of his life. The guy is in an audio medium, and it cost him to lose his life. And I got to tell you, you know, that case of Rush was a political witch hunt. You know, he was the first, and maybe the only still today, but at the time, he was the first person to be prosecuted under the doctor's shopping. And there was a Democrat prosecutor in Palm Beach who was bragging that he was going to go after Rush Limbaugh, and Rush even had the ACLU defending him. So no, I would say he paid dearly for that. He lost his hearing. And when you're in radio and an audio medium, that's a pretty difficult thing.
How come he never tried to help people with the same addiction during the big opioid crisis?
You don't know that he didn't. See, this is what I'm talking about. You don't know. Well, I didn't know until yesterday that he paid for Mark Levin's heart operation at Cleveland Clinic. You know, this story about the $2,000 tip that he gave to the waitress with Laura Ingraham that Richie told. I would say that if you think that he never did anything to help people during the opioid crisis, I would say you're probably very wrong. You don't know that he didn't. And I'll tell you another thing. He brought attention and awareness to prescription drug addiction. And that opioid crisis was probably in large part exposed and clamped down on because of the attention that Rush brought to it. So no, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. Let me ask you, are you just playing around, or are you just really a nasty, disgusting person? Because I don't want to do a devil's advocate thing. You really this vile of a person, or are you just pretending? Before I respond to you.
You know who's nasty was Limbaugh with his nasty nicknames for all.
Oh, okay. All right. So you are a nasty, vile person. No, he did talk about it on his show. In fact, the most listened to Rush Limbaugh show probably was, you know, he went into rehab, the 28-day rehab. And I remember sitting in my car listening to his first show back from rehab. And he went into every detail of his substance abuse problem with the opioids. He talked about everything he did. And it was on the air, and it was live, and it was his first show back. and it was very emotional. I remember it clearly. So that's not true.
Playing Jew Richie.
Now, see what I mean? Yeah. See, this is the point where he's got nothing left to say. So what he's doing now is he's starting to spew anti-Semitism. So I'll hang up on him because he's a creep. And you're an older guy. You've been calling for a long time. You're an old man, right? You're an old man. You know what my name really is? I don't care what your name is. So I don't need to. I don't know. I don't care what your name is. I don't want to know your name. You can be the photo. No, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I forgot about you. Yeah, I remember you a little bit. Here's the thing, photo. You're an older man. You've been calling this show for years. You haven't called in a long time, but you're an old timer. Do you really think it is appropriate for a grown man like you to talk in such a nasty, disgusting way about someone who just passed away yesterday?
All the Levitts I've known.
No, now he's trying to get into the thing. Now he's back to the anti-Semitism. I didn't ask you about that. What type of grown man dances on the grave of someone who just passed away yesterday?
Are you a self-hating Jew?
So you don't have an answer to that. You don't have an answer to that. All right, photo. Let me tell you, photo. You've not called in a long time. And you've not been missed. In fact, I forgot about you until you mentioned your name, and then it caught me off guard, and I had to think about it, and then I remembered you. But there you go, people. Wow, what a disgusting person that was, and what a disgusting man. All right, 34 minutes after the, I see he pulled some things, so I had to hang up on him. 34 minutes after the hour, he was starting to get aware that he's a scumbag. Our number toll free 1-888-GO-CANE 1. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Do not go anywhere.
Suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop
Steve
a
Kane
foot
Show.
ulcer at some point in your life?
Hey, Paul, hold on.
Foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and
what a
extra
low-life
depth
man.
to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's TheSole Authority.
I'm just disgusted by that caller.
Steve Kane sent you.
Disgusted by that
Would you
caller.
like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how? By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most homeowners never review their policy.
No, he's not playing around. He used to call the show all the time years ago.
Property owners. Same goes for your property
And we
insurance
banned him.
policy. So what are you waiting for?
We
Call
banned
I
him
Will
because he was
Advisors
just
and
getting out of
start
control.
saving money. 954-753-8080.
But he sneaked in today because he wanted to dance on the grave, you know.
8080.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. 37 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, Paul in Tampa. Good morning.
Yeah, how you doing, son?
All right. Long time no talk.
Sure. Were you surprised to hear this about Rush?
Surprised to hear what?
That he died.
I was surprised yesterday, actually. It did catch me off guard. As crazy as that sounds, yeah.
Yeah, I was quite shocked too when I saw it this morning. I thought, man, I got to call Brian, find out. And how do you feel about it?
Well, I did not listen to Rush all that much. I listened to him this year more than I've ever listened to him. But I never really listened to him that much. I know a lot of people do, and I'm not going to claim that I did. And the couple reasons I didn't. One is just that time of day is a tough time for me. But I don't listen to a lot of talk radio in general because if I listen to a lot of talk radio, I find out I find myself talking about what other people are talking about. You know what I mean? So I don't listen to a lot of talk radio because you can't help it. You know, you talk about what you're exposed to, and I want to have my own outlook and analysis and everything. And if I listen to other shows too much, I'm talking about what they're talking about, you know, or they'll mention something that I was planning on talking about, then I won't because they did it. So I really didn't listen to Rush all that much prior to this last year. So I don't have that every day at noon experience that a lot of you guys have.
I think I listened to him a total 10 times in my life myself.
You know, yeah. But I feel bad that he passed. It bothered me more than I thought it would. Actually, tell you the truth.
Okay, question. We're going to have a surprise like this with Steve, because Steve's getting up there.
Well, Steve knew Rush and used to work with him in New York, you know, so he had a relationship with Rush, a personal one. So I don't know if he's going to join us today. Steve was pretty upset yesterday.
How old is he?
Older than Rush was. Well, what's your point? I mean,
no. Well, I just wanted to. My point was, I don't want to hear in 2 weeks that Steve passed on.
Why would you hear that? I mean, what is it with the callers today? First photo, now you. You sound like you're. I got to. By the sound of your voice, you sound like you're closer to death than Steve.
Oh, Brian, my point is, I haven't had a chance to listen to you guys a lot lately. So I haven't heard Steve in.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, you've been working while we're on. Yeah, everything's fine. Steve's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. No, it's just a weird thing to say. I was before the break. I was talking to this low-life, vile guy that we banned from calling. He hasn't been on the show in years, and he got through today and said terrible things, and then did some things. So I had to disconnect him because he knew he looked like a jerk. And now you're asking, is Steve still alive? Is he going to die next? Is he going to die soon? I mean, what? Strange.
I'm just
I mean, that's just weird. It's just weird. I mean, it's just a very strange thing to say. I don't understand why you would say that.
I haven't heard Steve.
Well, he's doing better than you're doing, I think, because you don't sound. What's wrong with you? You're just tired?
I mean, this before. I had teeth removed, and I just haven't put my teeth in yet.
Oh, you're talking to me without your teeth. Okay. All right, I appreciate the call. Oh, well, not really. I take that back. I don't appreciate the call. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What the hell? You know, I really enjoy taking calls screenless. I really do. And there's a lot of positives to it, but there's also a lot of negatives to it. And the negatives are what we are hearing right now. Let me see. Let me take another call or two before I bring up anything else and try to, this is not the way I wanted to start this show. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. Good morning.
How you doing? This is Al.
Oh, my gosh, Al. I hope you're more appropriate than these last couple of guys.
I think it's crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. I know obviously who Rush Limbaugh is. I never really listened. Not that I never really listened to him much. I mean, maybe a few times. I just guess maybe the time of the day, like you were saying. But it's crazy that people have to make comments like that. I mean, I've seen some of this stuff. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff, what they say or anything like that. But I don't judge, especially since I never listened to him a lot. I think it's just crazy people judge him, and it's just like they like to say that about everybody that. Like the liberals with everything. I actually have a cousin. I don't even, you know how you have like cousins in your family that you don't,
yeah,
kind of thing. I know he works. He's not like you on the radio, but I think he worked with Advertisements. And I think somebody told me I think he might have worked with him. You know, as far as maybe with the radio. I think he with Hannity and I think Rush Limbaugh. So I think he might be a liberal too. But I guess they work together. I guess sometimes people have to work together if they're in that type of business. But I just think people should think before they talk. There's plenty of people.
Well, I feel like I made a mistake. This is what I thought I was doing today. Okay, I know, this audience is a talk radio audience. So and this is a conservative show, but not everybody that listens is conservative. But I know that we got a whole chunk of people that for 5 years to 30 years or longer have been listening to Rush every day from noon to 3. So I figure, you know what, it's probably the appropriate thing for me to let people call in who want to have someone to talk to about it. You know what I mean? Like Richie and stuff. And I honestly was not expecting to hear from weirdos and creeps. And it's just, it's disturbing. And and that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with liberals. You're dealing with people that wish for people's death because they disagree with them. You're dealing with people that celebrate the death of. This isn't Bin Laden that died yesterday. It was Rush Limbaugh, and I'll tell you, I found personally yesterday. I did a live stream on YouTube about this, and I did read they had a terrible headline in the Huffington Post, and I went up and I looked at their obituary for Bin Laden. And they didn't have the venom towards Bin Laden after his death that they had for Rush yesterday in the Huffington Post. They weren't praising Bin Laden, but what I mean is they didn't have the same emotional satisfaction in the passing. You understand what I mean?
It's a lot of this is one-sided stuff, and on social media, I wonder how many any of these rude comments they make. They probably don't delete it; they leave it on there. But if say somebody's mad at, like, say, Nancy Pelosi, something happens. Eventually, everybody, nobody lives forever. If something happens there, most people you would think that if you said something.
Well, look, I mean, I want to, this is what, when you do this type of job, this is what you have so many people that are working against you, conspiring against you, and wishing spells with voodoo dolls on you. The two callers before you, the first guy was the vile guy, and then the last guy is like counting down for Steve to die. Rush is dead, but what about Steve? I mean, what the hell?
Worked with them, I heard you say. I'm sure
Steve was very friendly with Rush and socialized with Rush, but he was pretty upset yesterday. I don't know if he'll be joining us today or not to talk about it.
I don't blame him for being upset. When it hits you when you know somebody, I mean. Then
well, I told Steve. I said, if you think about it, Steve does like this Zoom thing with his high school class, and there aren't too many of them left because the age. And I told Steve, I said, if you think about all your friends that are alive and all your friends that are dead, right? From your group, the ones that are dead, almost every single one of them is smoker. The ones that are alive, non-smokers, and that's a fact. I mean, I've never been a smoker. Steve hasn't been a smoker, but that's that's the killer.
I have an aunt that's unfortunately died from lung cancer. It's a horrible thing, especially when she had it. She still smoked. And by that time it was too late. So they said it wasn't gonna. If she stopped, it would.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I say let them rest in peace. And people should just think before they talk about him. I mean, I didn't know him personally, or anything like that, but he sounded like he was a good.
Well, when you listen to someone on the radio and you listen to them for a long time, you feel like you know them. That's what radio's about. So, I really thought that today would be I feel obligated to let people call in and share because it's a family. Talk radio's a. And if this is what I'm going to get today, I'm going to have to change the topic. I mean, you're all right, Richie's all right, but those last two guys, I mean, I feel dirty talking to those last two people.
People sound also like I heard you talking about people leaving comments on your, rude comments. And I don't know if I think I could be wrong, but eventually when they leave these comments, sometimes YouTube, they may I've seen other people where I don't know if it's where people turn their comments off. but they might make it where I've had people where I've heard of people that have a lot of followers on YouTube that have like a big channel and they start like.
You don't know what people do. Let me tell you something here, okay? I'm not gonna. I have, and this isn't just me. This is everybody in this business, okay? I've had people. I had one package come to me one day years ago, and I opened it up, and some vile listener had wiped themselves with a washcloth and mailed it to me. Okay. I've had guns pointed at me. And I'm not kidding. And other things.
That's scary. I actually.
Yeah.
I was looking at something, an old thing about Steve Kane. I think it mentioned him and some other people, like something about radio. And it mentioned this one guy. I guess that movie they made, Talk Radio. That one guy that got killed.
Eric Bogosian played in the movie Talk Radio. He played a guy. He was a movie. It was an Oliver Stone movie, and it was about a radio talk show host named Alan Berg. Yeah, who was killed by some very crazy people. So yeah.
I mean, there's no right to do that. It's crazy, but that's scary to have that happen. That's scary.
I mean, and I can only imagine what it's like for somebody at Rush's level or Hannity's level, because I know what I've gone through and still deal with people. And and when I'm really upset about those last two callers. It just really, I got a thick skin, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too sensitive today.
I would just, in my opinion, when they call up, if they start saying stuff, disconnect the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, I got to run for a break and let you go, but thank you for the call. Oh man, if you're on hold, stand by. There's one opening on the board. We'll take our last break of the first hour. My name's Brian Craig. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631.
Brian Craig here. I've been telling you for
man.
years how great My Pillow products are. But don't just take my word for it. This is one of our listeners, Todd. He bought the My Pillow mattress topper, and he called us live on the radio to tell us about his experience with the My Pillow mattress topper.
Yeah, I'm calling you testimonial about my pillow topper.
You ordered the My Pillow, the mattress topper?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, I was thinking about buying a new mattress because my old mattress was getting old. So my wife's like, why don't you try that pillow, that mattress topper? I went on, I used your promo code KANE. I got a great price. Got it home, and I've been using it for the last 3 nights.
The caller volume's too loud?
Oh, that's awesome.
It feels like a whole new mattress.
I talked to other listeners with the My Pillow mattress topper, and they come in all sizes. The mattress companies have turned into con artists. When I was a kid, mattresses were two-sided. You'd have the mattress, then after a while you'd flip it over. Now you can't flip mattresses anymore. They don't make them that way anymore because people weren't buying mattresses enough. So the mattress companies stopped making two-sided mattresses, and mattresses are expensive. I've had to buy a new mattress, and mattresses can cost well over, just for a regular normal mattress, over $1,000. So that My Pillow mattress topper is a big savings. It saved you from buying a new
I feel
mattress
dirty.
and turn your whole bed into a My Pillow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I really love it. I sleep really good.
Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate that. You guys out there, remember, promo code KANE, K-A-N-E.
Now, when you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com, save 30% off your My Pillow mattress topper and receive 2 free My Pillows. But you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. 30% off the My Pillow mattress topper. Turn your old mattress into a big My Pillow mattress. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It is 51 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. All right, I'm going to go back to the phones. Hopefully we'll raise the quality of the content on the calls today. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, Brian. Larry, how are you?
All right, Larry.
Good. I hope I could change the tone a little bit. When Rush first came on, I listened to him probably 32 years. He was really the only voice out there that was conservative, and there was substance to his show. And I do admit for a number of years he was really the only guy I listened to because there wasn't a lot out there. But what it did for me is I started to realize, hey, there are other voices out there like yours and Steve. I started listening to them as well. So, and it truly true sense, he was a pioneer, and he paved the way for others. And
well, the thing about what Rush did, what Rush, before Rush was doing, Rush wasn't the first conservative, and he wasn't the first conservative talk radio host. There have been others, but he was the first one that became a superstar and household name. And what he did, before him, conservatives were looked upon as kind of like George Will types. Boring, bow ties, country clubs where no blacks or Jews are allowed to join. You understand what I mean? He put a different face on what conservatism is and what conservatives are like.
Exactly. It was informative. It was fun. And again, for me, even like maybe before I wouldn't have entertained listening to a show. I've been listening probably to you and Steve for 15, 18 years now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, but I even there would be times, I would turn to other shows other than Rush's because I knew there was a lot of other really strong and entertaining conservative shows out there. And I'm not a sports talk guy, those things.
Sports talk, okay. I'm a big talk radio fan, okay? I always have been. But sports talk is not talk radio. That is something totally different. It's not talk radio. They think it is. And I'll turn it on sometimes to see what they're doing. It's not. That's not talk radio. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Appreciate your...
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it, Rush, and I'm looking forward to another 15 years.
I hope so. Well, I hope it's more than that. All right, take care. Take care. All right, it's... well, let's take some more calls. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hi. Often I compare you to, in between have you ever heard of Bob Grant and Rush Limbaugh?
Of course. Steve knew Bob Grant back in the 60s, and Steve took me out to dinner one night with Bob Grant. Yeah, so I knew Bob Grant.
And for so many years, I always think of you as in between. But of course, Rush Limbaugh has all his millions of dollars. He could, more research.
Yeah.
He was our voice out there and had the facts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little surprised with all his money and all that. I thought he'd live forever, but of course, money doesn't buy.
Well, I mean, look at Steve Jobs, and other people. I mean, Steve McQueen, these guys, I know, it's rough.
It came a lot. I mean, here's a radio guy who lost his hearing at one point. I mean, just to stay on.
Well, do you know? I mean, think about that. I mean, I talked to one of these jerks about it earlier in the show. When you are in a forum that is an audio format and you can't hear it. I mean, I remember before it was known what had happened. I used to listen to Rush a lot before that. Okay. And he was before we knew about the opioid thing and all that. He sounded strange on the air. He didn't have the implant yet. He sounded strange on the air, and a lot of people would call us here and say, "Rush sounds so arrogant." And then we found out he had lost his hearing. He didn't have the implant yet, and he talked about this on the air. That people would tell him that he sounded arrogant on the radio, and he just couldn't hear himself or hear anything. And they had, I don't know if the implant did away with the need for this or not, but up to that point, they had someone transcribing for him on a computer screen what callers were saying, because he didn't announce that any of this. Nobody knew that he had lost his hearing, that he had the drug. None of this was known yet. And when they were transcribing it, they would have different coloring for the letters to express the emotion that the caller had in their voice. I mean, that's crazy. And he overcame that. And
I mean, I didn't want to bring up the opiate thing, but he overcame all that just like a common person. He's normal.
Oh man, and when that story broke, the left. Oh, you want to talk about? They were having parades. When that story broke.
His memorial or his funeral. I mean, I hope they don't, put it down. I mean, he's our boy. Now we need you more than ever.
Well, I'll tell you this thing. I remember when Rush, during the Clinton years, is when Rush became a superstar household name, right? And the left were looking for a liberal radio host to counter Rush. They approached Steve, actually. I didn't know Steve very well then, but they approached Steve, who was a conservative on the air. Steve was a conservative on the air, and they approached Steve to do the liberal alternative to Rush, and they'll become a liberal. He said, "I can't do it. I can't do it." I mean, how can you do that? And they tried. A lot of people, including Mario Cuomo, was one of the people, by the way, the current governor's father. They tried a lot of liberals. Yeah, they tried Mario Cuomo and others to be the liberal alternative to Rush, and no one could do it. And there's a number of reasons why, but one of them is it's very difficult to defend liberalism. There's some liberal talk show hosts around, but they're mediocre, no talents. But Rush turned the liberal world upside down. The Democrats, there are the three most important figures in the Republican conservative movement, okay? Abraham Lincoln, Donald Trump, and Rush Limbaugh. Because those are the three that changed everything. And Rush when he became mainstream, was the first time that conservatives started to have a voice and control the narrative. And Newt Gingrich wouldn't have been Speaker of the House if it wasn't for Rush during the Republican Revolution back in, was it 95, 94? Whenever that was, and that's a fact. I don't know if Newt would own that.
He gave us all hope. I mean, us common people, the conservatives, he was our voice out there, just like Donald Trump.
And they can't, and with these mainstream media vile devil worshippers, I mean, you hear how they talk, but they're saying about Rush today. It's terrible. They don't understand why hardworking people love Rush and love Trump, because they're so rich, right? He's got the golden mic, he's got the EIB jet, he makes over $80 million a year. They don't understand why people like you and me relate to someone who's so rich. They don't get it. It's because when these guys get rich, they don't become snobs like Mitch McConnell and other things. People still relate to them. They don't get it. They don't understand it. And they never will, thankfully. So, all right, hey, listen, appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right, take it. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. 1 hour down. And I know we're taking a lot of calls today because I think people want to have an opportunity to share their thoughts about Rush, and we'll continue to do that. Steve was pretty upset yesterday about it, so I have not talked to Steve this morning. Steve and I usually talk before I go on the air, and he did not answer his phone, so I don't know if Steve's going to join us or not today. I hope that he does, but if he doesn't, it's just because he doesn't want to, deal with what's going on right now, so I can get that, but we'll find out in a little bit. All right, it's 7 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be right back.
AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65.
Well, thank Deborah.
That's a $70
Thank you.
per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net. Hi, Brian Craig here. You've heard Dr. Mitch Matez.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
Their COVID testing at Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. I've been tested too. So is Steve Kane and his son Tyler. Today on the radio, Rabbi David called in. He felt that he was getting sick and wanted to get tested for coronavirus. So he went to Any Lab Test Now of Boca. Go to Rabbi David. Hey, Rabbi.
By the way, you might hear congestion in my voice. I actually had a lot of congestion. I felt a little sick, and of course, I get nervous that, is it COVID or not? My wife also. So guess what we did? I listened to you. I went down to Any Lab Test Now yesterday, and I couldn't believe it. Went right in there. They put a little tiny thing, you didn't even feel it in my finger. Literally 10 minutes later, not a second more, they came back and said, you're fine, negative, great. We went on our way, and we just, not even worried. So
that $69 price is just for Steve Kane Show listeners. You got to mention that, and it's that little finger test. You get it real quick. I'll tell you, anytime somebody has any type of congestion, all of a sudden.
I was just reading something. I'll talk about it when I get back.
Around them, it's best just to go in and get the test. Say, I don't have the COVID. You know what I mean? Instead of dealing with all the wonder.
And they give you a piece of paper. That yesterday, I actually walked around with it. When people heard, oh, you don't sound so good, I take out that piece of paper and said, I was tested right here, and I pick up the piece of paper and showed it to them that says negative. And Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Coral Springs, they're good people, and we're very lucky to have them. They're very caring and full of information.
First, we had a doctor recommendation from Dr. Mitch Matez. Now we have a rabbi. Rabbi recommended Any Lab Test Now of Boca, Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs for your COVID testing. Yeah, that's great. Rabbi recommended. Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Rabbi recommended by Rabbi David for COVID testing. Rapid coronavirus testing, just $69. But you have to mention you heard them on the radio. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. Their number, 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalwood Plaza where the Western Beef is. Their number, 561-237-5009. Make sure you mention you heard them on the radio.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Call the show toll free. Dial 1-888-COCAINE-1. That's 1-888-COCAINE-1. And
all right, welcome back, everyone. 5 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. It's Thursday, the 18th day of February. Hour number 2 has just begun. And, of course, we've been talking about the loss of Rush Limbaugh, and we're going to continue to do that and take your calls. There's a couple other topics, though, that I do want to talk about today. I'll get into more detail about one of them a little bit later, but Trump reemerged in society yesterday. He was on Fox a couple times yesterday. I saw him on Newsmax last night, and it was great to hear from our president. First, I heard President Trump call in with Harris Faulkner yesterday on Fox, and it was so great to hear his voice again. I mean, I just saw him, the other day on President's Day, but to hear him talk, I've missed him so much, and I know you guys have too. And then I heard in the afternoon, I saw on Twitter that he was going to be on Greg Kelly's show last night on Newsmax at 7, so I stopped everything I was doing so I could watch that live, and that was great. And then he was on Hannity last night, and it was so great to hear from him. And I noticed with the Harris Faulkner interview in particular, they're treating President Trump different than they had. By the way, drop the former president. We all know, okay? You don't have to say that every time you say his name. I mean, if I'm in Bill Clinton, I wouldn't say, we have former President Clinton here with us. I would say we have President Clinton here in the studio with us. You know what I mean? Same with Obama. But anyway, Harris Faulkner was, she was loving Trump yesterday. Did you get this? It was so great to hear him yesterday. And he was being treated, let me tell you, yesterday with these interviews. Now, obviously, Greg Kelly loves Trump as much as I do and you do. Sean Hannity loves Trump as much as we do. Harris Faulkner surprised me a little bit, frankly. I didn't know she was a big MAGA person. She didn't say it, but you could tell. But I noticed President Trump being treated, even though these were friendly people, that he was being treated in a different way. Yesterday, now this was just me, and this was in particular with the Harris Faulkner interview. Okay, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, people. It was the first time that the mainstream media, I felt, treated President Trump with the respect that he in the office and titles that he has deserve. It was the first time I've seen the mainstream media, and I'm talking about Faulkner, treat President Trump with the proper respect and credibility that he is owed. You know? And it was so nice to hear that. It really was. It really was. And when he was on with Greg Kelly last night, he was talking about, Greg Kelly asked some very good questions. I thought Greg Kelly did a spectacular job with President Trump's interview last night. I only heard a little bit of President Trump on Hannity. I watched it online a little bit this morning. I didn't see the whole thing yet. But the Greg Kelly interview was just awesome. And he asked him a lot of great things, including he asked him about Twitter. And President Trump he's negotiating several things so far as a social media comeback, including starting his own social media platform. And I know, our radio stations are within the listening range of Mar-a-Lago, so we may have some people out there. Let me tell you, if President Trump started his own social media network and I had to pay a monthly subscription fee, I would do it. And I think a lot of people would do it, and not just MAGA conservative people. I think there is such a demand for a place of freedom, right? A place of free speech. And I don't know if it's going to be Parler or something new that President Trump does, because Parler's got some problems. Mainly, they've been locked out of the app stores, and that's a problem. But I would be willing to pay a monthly subscription fee, wouldn't you, to be a user on a free, when I say free, I mean like freedom of speech, social media platform. And no one's really done that in that kind of way, right? And I think, I don't know what they're thinking about or what they're looking at, but it's having these social media platforms, a very expensive venture. Would you guys pay? I think, but it was so great to hear from President Trump yesterday, and he did all these interviews. He did all these interviews over the telephone, and I think that's the start of something new. They think they canceled President Trump. He's not on the Twitter. He's not on this. He's not on that. He's not going to be able to speak. Well, they haven't cut off his telephone yet. Maybe cancel culture will try to cut him off the cell phones and the landlines and everything else. But I think we're going to start to hear more of President Trump calling television programs, and you can call us anytime, Mr. President, calling television programs, calling on the issues of the day. Yesterday when he was on all these interviews, he wasn't just talking about Rush, which he did, and some interesting things that he brought up about Rush Limbaugh, but also he was talking about other news in the day, in particular Biden, where Biden, he was talking about what we were talking about on the show yesterday, about Biden saying there was no vaccine before he came into office. He got the damn vaccine before he was sworn in. And Trump's like, what's he talking? Is he either lying or is his mind gone? He said to Greg Kelly, is he gone? And we know the answer, President Trump. He's gone. Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening. So I think we're gonna start to see. Was that President Trump's first time on Newsmax TV? I don't remember. First time, at least live on Newsmax TV? I don't know. Maybe someone out there knows. Let me know. But we're gonna hear President Trump all the time. We may not have that morning tweet, but we're gonna start to see him on television a lot. I think, even over the phone, and it's wonderful. And what he said yesterday about Mitch, what he said about Biden, and that embarrassment of a town hall. He watched the town hall with Biden, and he commented very specifically on other things he said there too. We're going to see a lot more of that, and that's what we need. And I'm so grateful that they're treating him with the respect that he deserves. All right, President Trump. So, your thoughts on that as well. All right, let's go back to our phones. We're talking about all these things, including allowing people to share their thoughts and process the loss of Rush Limbaugh. I have lost track of who called in what order again. I'm sorry, guys. Our phones are just booming. I take the call screenless, and I've lost track. But let's go. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on the air.
Yeah, my name's Archie. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, but I moved to northern Michigan to get away from the liberals. And the vile hatred and derangement, I think, started with Rush Limbaugh. I used to take my lunch breaks at 12:07 just so I could have 7 more minutes into, before the show started. And another story about even people you love, I don't come across very many liberals up here. Now, that's going to be a good thing. And but I had an aunt that went through the Depression, and my dad was older. And my dad lost his dad when he was 12 years old, and she was about 8 or 9, I think. And she came through the Depression and was still voting Democrat. And I was working on her house in Boca, and for $20 an hour, half price, doing plumbing, electrical, remodeling, laundry rooms, moving pipes around, changing water heat, everything. And she was sitting there in the sunroom and heard my radio, and she says, he's warping your mind. You listening to that? I said, what do you mean? He's warping your mind. I said, Rush Limbaugh? She says, yeah. I said, Auntie, the reason why people hate him is because he plays their own words in their own interviews, and he repeats them. And he has a real sophisticated search, way to search these things up. Mm-hmm. But, he does what you do. He listens to the liberals, so we don't have to, And I said, he's been on the air for 10, 20 years at this time, 20 years. I said, don't you think that if he said one lie, you think he would be gone the next day? He would be gone. You'd never even have heard of him, and he never would have climbed to this level of notoriety. And the vileness, the Democrats, she was livid about that guy.
Well, they confuse being mistaken with lying. You know what I mean? Like if I say it's 7:14 and it's 7:15, I'm mistaken. I'm not lying. That's how liberals are. I'll tell you, when I first got into talk radio, there was and I was new. I was a kid. I've been doing this for 30 years. Okay, so I've been doing this since I was a teenager, basically. But I used to be a liberal because I was a kid till I grew up. You know what I mean? But I was approached by the Democrats, the local Democrats here, the young Democrats. They were trying to recruit me into the Young Democrats. And I went to a couple of meetings, and that was it for me. But I remember I went to this Young Democrat meeting, and this was like 93 or 4-ish. And some of you may remember this. Florida Orange Juice had hired Rush Limbaugh to be their spokesperson. Does anybody remember this? So what year was it? Well, it used to be Anita Bryant back in the 70s, and then they had like Burt Reynolds or something. I don't know who. But they had hired Rush to be the spokesperson for Florida Orange Juice, which we really need now because I don't hear anybody talking about Florida Orange Juice anymore like I used to. And I was in this meeting of these Young Democrats, and the Young Democrats was a great place to be if you were a young single guy, like 19, 20 years old, because 3/4 of the guys in the Young Democrats are gay. So and half of them are girls, and the girls aren't that bad looking. And since 3/4 of their socialization are gay men, you got free range to meet girls if you're a young guy. But anyway, they were. I'm not kidding. They were organizing. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? No. It's true. It's true. But they were organizing a demonstration with the media against Rush. They did. I don't even think Rush ever did a commercial for Florida Orange Juice, but it was about to happen, and they were organizing a media event protest at the Fort Lauderdale beach, and what they were going to do is everyone was going to get a jug of Florida Orange Juice, walk out to the ocean with the newspapers and the TV there, and pour it into the ocean on camera as a protest. Yeah, exactly. And I thought to myself, stupid. What a stupid. I know the girls are hot, all the guys are gay, You know, but this is just too stupid for me, and I got out of there. I know it seems trivial, but that's how much. That's how and this was like in the early '90s when Rush had just become big. That's how much they hated Rush, that they were going to pull off some stupid stunt like that. And I think Florida Orange Juice dropped him, if I remember correctly. I don't.
Yeah, I didn't get far because I would have recalled because I was tuned into Rush all the time. But I mean, we can't remember all the attacks that came against him and what he fought off and how he persevered and pushed through it. He had a comfortable life. The city of Boca was going after him. I mean, not Boca, Palm Beach County.
Mm-hmm.
After him every chance they got from every level of the bureaucracy.
I love these Democrats up in Palm Beach, right? They went after Rush. They go after Trump. I don't remember them trying to get Epstein kicked out of Palm Beach. Do you?
No, they pick up some.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was okay, but Rush and Trump, they can't have him there.
Over backwards to find some photo from the 80s where President Trump and Epstein were together, but that was probably Epstein's last day at Mar-a-Lago. That was probably the date.
Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. So what? Famous people take pictures with. I take pictures with people. I took when I was at the President's Day event. I took pictures with listeners. What am I accountable for everything they've done in their background? I don't know what they've done. You know what I mean? It's give me a break. It's like that picture with Trump with Stormy Daniels. Oh, they had sex. They took a picture. Give me a break. This germ freak, Donald Trump, right? He's and he's gonna be with a porn actress? I don't think so.
Brian, you're the only one. I'm a talk radio junkie with the earpiece in my phone, all day long, and the phone in my top pocket, and I listen to all the talk radio all day long when I'm working. It's basically like under my hearing protection, whatever I'm doing. Long story short, you're the only one that ever mentioned President Trump canceling TikTok and Backpage. First was Florida Backpage and the prostitution and the child.
Yeah, President Trump closed down the largest prostitution racket on the planet when he shut down Backpage, which wasn't just women, but was men and children too. Yeah.
And then, recently, under the Clintons and under Obama, the trafficking of getting the kids across the border and a free pass and all that with escorted with minors and all that wasn't exposed until President Trump exposed it.
The national, this thing about Backpage is where global prostitution was being out. I like true crime, like I'm into the ID channel. And I read the local news because I like to read the crime stories. I read local news in other communities because I'm into true crime. It's interesting. And any time prior to Trump shutting down Backpage, there used to be lots of stories about prostitution busts. Sometimes it would be like a police captain getting arrested in a motel room, and 9 times out of 10, the John found the prostitute on Backpage. And when President Trump, one of the first things he did as president, shut down Backpage, he stopped the sexploitation of women, children, and men around the world, and at a level that's never been stopped. And the National Organization for Women and these ladies' organizations should be giving. He should have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize just for that.
Remember all the publicity about selling things on Craigslist or eBay and meeting people and all that? Remember, they always had a story that, if you're going to go try to sell a cell phone on eBay, you get jacked, you get attacked, you'll get carjacked, and this.
Yeah.
They never talked about the potential number of rapes and attacks that would happen with these people trying to meet each other on.
Well, people would have sex slaves, like these pimps would have sex slaves that they were holding prisoners, and they would advertise their sex slaves on Backpage, and President Trump shut it down. I don't think many people know about it.
President Trump in the process of doing with TikTok, and now it's back open for business.
Well, TikTok, I know a little bit about TikTok, and, it's something for younger people. I've got a TikTok, by the way. I got like 1-2 videos up there or something. It's not for me. But it's a young person's thing. And what attracts them to TikTok are the number of followers they have. And some of these people, they're just a kid, right? They're in college or something, or they're 25 years old, and they'll have 800,000 or 1 million followers on TikTok. And what we found out is that TikTok was being used by the Chinese to spy, to get in people's phones. So what I've suspected is that the Chinese people into TikTok have been inflating all these young people's numbers, because that's like a drug to them. The number of subs and followers they get on TikTok, as a way to get into everybody's cell phone. I think yeah.
Just to allow your contacts and all that, and they're always talking about how spyware on phones and these apps can steal your information and sell the information, how valuable that is to marketers.
Well, I don't want to turn this into a spy, but we actually have a sponsor. ExpressVPN is a sponsor here, the Steve Kane Show, and I use ExpressVPN on my iPad, on my phone, specifically for that, to protect my data on my phone. If you go to expressvpn.com/Kane Radio, they got a huge deal where you get a huge amount off for ExpressVPN. But yeah, it's a big thing. All right, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I got to run. I'm a little late for the break, but all right, you heard that creep earlier. What a
Live Steve Kane Show.
That's right. All right, our callers have redeemed themselves. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Only one opening on the board where I was talking to that nice man. Oh, no, now somebody just called in on that line. But there'll be some openings maybe later. Let's take our break very late, and we'll be right back with your calls after this. Do not go anywhere.
Do you suffer from foot pain that just won't go away? Do you have balance issues, and are you afraid of falling? Are you in need of orthotics? Are you a diabetic and in need of diabetic shoes and custom inserts? These are just a few reasons why you would call the Soul Authority today. Whether it's in the comfort of your own home or coming to the office at one of our 2 convenient locations in Pembroke Pines or Tamarack, the Soul Authority can take care of all of your podiatric needs. If you're a Medicare recipient, call us today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. And you can also find us online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Call the Soul Authority today and start taking care of your feet.
Hi, this is Dr. Mitchell Matez. I'm excited to announce that my practice has morphed into the BioStation and will be formally known as BioStation West Delray. To all of my existing patients, please be assured that you will continue to receive the same quality and personalized care that you are accustomed to. The only change is to a spectacular new location and an incredible array of anti-aging, health, and wellness modalities. We will be located at Atlantic Avenue and Lyons Road in the Joseph's Market Shopping Center, directly across from the Delray Marketplace. Call me at my new office number, 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search.
All right, guys, my apologies. I took that last break really, really super late, which means this is going to be a short segment because I got to get back on track with our break schedule, or it'll be a traffic jam for the rest of the show. So this will be a short segment. My apologies. It's my fault. Before we go back to the phones, let me tell you something. What Joe Biden is doing and the left and the media are doing to Texas is beyond imagination. I played a clip on the show yesterday of Joy Reid saying they're getting what they deserve out there, basically, right? Things are bad in Texas. They're really bad. This is on Drudge. And I'm just going to read you these headlines that they have on Drudge, on the Texas natural catastrophe that's going on out there because of the weather, the storm. Humiliation of Texas. Energy state can't keep lights on. Austin hospital without water or heat. Oh my goodness. Danger of deregulation. Water supply at risk. Animals at sanctuary freeze to death. Cruise flees to Cancun. Okay. The Democrats have an obsession with Texas, and that's turning it blue. Remember that lunatic lady with the sneakers that stood up and talked about abortion all day, and she did it in her tennis shoes, and they thought she was going to be the governor? Then they had that Beavis and Butthead guy, Beto, out there, he was going to be, the Senate. They have an obsession with making Texas blue. I've mentioned a few times on the air, I believe, I know this is crazy to a lot of people, but I think there's some truth in this. This ridiculous North Korea-like police state of California is causing a mass exodus of people to leave California. A lot of them are going to Texas. What's going on with Texas? Texas is being forced to suffer and not getting the federal aid from the federal government that it needs desperately because they want Texas to suffer. If they freeze, if they don't have water, if their animals die, maybe in the next election they'll get a Democrat governor and it'll go blue. And let me tell you, if President Trump was in the White House this morning and this was going on in Texas and the federal government wasn't there taking care of business today, the press would be all over him. But the Democrats aren't going to give any help to Texas unless they're really embarrassed and forced into it. And when they do, they're going to drag their feet because they think this is our chance. This is our chance. If they suffer enough, if enough of them die, if their animals are dead, if they don't have heat in the hospitals, and they suffer enough, this crisis won't go to waste, and they'll go blue next time. That's what's going on here. It's pretty damn sick. Really sick. What's going on in Texas is god awful. It really is. It really is. I don't know exactly why it's so bad. I know people are talking about windmills and solar panels and stuff that don't work in the snow and the frost and the freeze. And sometimes here in Florida, when we've had massive hurricanes, we've been with the longest I think I've been without power was 2 weeks. But we don't have cold, we got heat, and it was so bad my wife had to leave the state because we didn't have electricity for 2 weeks, and because of her health condition, she couldn't live here. Without air conditioning, she'd die. So she had to flee to another state to stay with friends until we got our electricity back. But the Democrats, if you're in Texas, Biden doesn't want you to get relief right now. They want you to suffer. They're trying to turn you, people turn blue when they get cold. They're trying to turn you into a blue Democrat. All right, let's go back to the phones. And again, this very short break, so I can be on schedule for the rest of the show. My apologies to you all for that. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I think I can finally talk about Rush without crying. So, but I just want to say that Rush was just great. And really quickly, I always heard his name throughout, my life pretty much. But growing up, obviously black in the hood, in the urban areas, his name was synonymous with being a racist, being a bigot.
Yeah.
I never heard of his show at that time, but I just knew that Rush was this horrible, racist person. If you listen to urban radio, that's what he was. He was a monster. But my aunt, who was this wonderful, she's still here. We talked about Rush yesterday, but I was 16 years old, early 2000s. I come over to her house, and I go by her computer. She has a Rush mouse pad with a cigar in his mouth, Rush screensaver with and a Rush mug. And I'm like, again, ignorant at this time. I'm like, oh my gosh, my aunt, does she hate being black? What is going on? And but she didn't, and I knew she didn't. She was great. She loved us. She helped everybody. She beat the odds a lot because my family, they grew up poor, but she became valedictorian. She became an engineer and worked hard, and that started kind of breaking the ice, I guess, for me to be like, she's not crazy. So fast forward years later. I rededicated my life to God, and conservative values come in, and Rush just got me through Obama years. Just got me through with laughter, with everything, the parodies.
Hey, Barry, hold on.
Wonderful. And it was a tough time being someone who's black in an urban area and being anti-Barack Obama.
Oh yeah, well when you talk about urban radio, which is urban a code word for black? Why does everything urban mean black? Because you don't have to be black to be in an urban area. It's like coded language, But yeah, but you're right about black radio. Charlemagne the God and all these other people, they hate Rush with a passion, and yeah. Well,
Just give them. I was like, why are you giving these? But that's Rush. He would put you to the front of the line if you hated him. Like he'll be like, come on, you could come to the front and tell me.
Well, Charlemagne the God was elevated many levels above where he ever would have achieved because he Rush honored him with his presence and elevated him and made him. That's how I heard about Charlemagne. I heard about things that happened on the show, like when Hillary with the hot sauce and this stupid stuff, but I didn't know his name, right? Until Rush went on the show. And so he owes a lot to Rush. All right, well listen, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Oh, look who we have on the line, Attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning and elder law attorney. Good morning, Barry Siegel.
Good morning. How are you doing, Brian?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. Thank you.
Great. Well, what do you have for us today?
Well, we all know that it's important to review our estate plan and make sure that it meets our needs and have it reviewed every 3 to 5 years. But what we're finding at our offices, we're getting a lot of people calling who either just recently moved or into Florida or are making their arrangements to move into Florida. I spoke to a nice family yesterday. They were still in California, and they were calling us to see about getting their estate planning set up for Florida. They're building a home in the Boca del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being proactive to make sure that they have a Florida estate plan. With everything going on and COVID, I mean, we all know about the real estate being on fire here, and people are moving to Florida in droves. So if you are moving to Florida, you are new to Florida, it's time to have your estate plan reviewed to make sure that you have an estate plan that's going to work properly here in Florida. And of course, anybody who hasn't reviewed their estate plan in the last 3 or 5 years, it's a good idea to give us a call and we can review it at no charge.
And by the way, when Barry says he'll review your estate plan, that doesn't mean necessarily one that he prepared for you 3 years or more. If you have had estate planning done with someone else, he'll review that as well, and at absolutely no charge, which is absolutely amazing. Attorney Barry Siegel, his number 1-855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, online SiegelLawGroup.com. Give him a call. All right, Barry, we'll finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care, Barry. Attorney Barry Siegel, give him a call, guys. He does very good work. All right, let's go back to our phones. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name?
Hello, good morning.
Yes.
It's Michigander calling.
Hey, Michigander.
Hey, I just wanted to make a couple comments. One on the Rush. I didn't listen to him so much, but my dad did. And he actually talked to Rush one time on the phone. Back in the early 90s or the Clinton era. And of course, he's passed away now, so I can't ask him what they talked about. But yeah, he was a huge fan.
Well, I was talking about this in the first hour, and I think this is what... See, Rush was not the first conservative radio talk show host. There were, the guy Steve started out with, Joe Pine, in the 60s, was a conservative radio host, nationally syndicated, when Kennedy was president. In fact... they took him off the air for a month after the Kennedy assassination because he was so anti-Kennedy. They thought listeners would blame him for it, But what Rush did that was different, okay, is that he made conservatism mainstream. And what I was talking about in the first hour is everything you know of that's conservative today, the CPAC thing they're going to have in Florida here next month, Breitbart, all these things are because of Rush. You know, and I don't know, CPAC may have been around before Rush was famous, but what I'm telling you is Rush made conservatism mainstream, hip, and cool. Before Rush, conservatives were a bunch of bow tie wearing people that were very stuffy with a smoking jacket and a bow tie and a pipe. You understand? You see, you know what I mean? And you got this guy who started out with humble beginnings, who didn't even graduate college. So that's what he did.
Well, because I grew up with very conservative parents, but they were pretty low key, and maybe that's why, you know, my dad adapted to him so well, because he listened. Well, he's on AM radio.
Yeah.
He was a loyal listener. I just remember that one time he was so excited because he'd finally gotten through, and they talked for a minute, but at this point I couldn't tell you what.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Real quick, and I watched the Greg Kelly.
Oh, with President Trump last night, was that not spectacular?
Mom called me and she's like, "Oh, he's gonna do one on Hannity too."
Yeah.
So I watched that one, and I actually thought that the Hannity one, I think he was a little more respectful because, and I'm not saying that Greg Kelly wasn't, because I love him to death. I mean, he's my.
Well, Greg Kelly has known President Trump since he was a kid, because of his father being the police commissioner in New York and everything, I'm sure. You know what I mean? So when he talks to President Trump, it's like talking to a friend of his father's that he's known since he was a kid. It's different. Hannity's like a groupie.
Yeah, but it just kept, are you going to run again? Are you going to run again? You know, and whereas Hannity was like, we're not going to talk about that tonight. We can talk about that the next time. You know, it was just a little more respectful. But, you know, one thing I do want to say about Trump is he is so gracious. And even with the Biden thing on CNN, he even made an excuse for him. You know, he's like, well, you know, I did hear that, but maybe he honestly forgot or whatever he said. I can't remember.
Well, what I heard, I didn't hear the whole Hannity interview with President Trump, but I watched the entire Greg Kelly one. I thought Greg Kelly did a spectacular job. And he asked him questions and he sat back and let him talk, and he didn't interject and interrupt. And he, you know, but the thing with that he said last night about Biden, he was President Trump. He was talking about when he said that the vaccine didn't exist before Inauguration Day, when he had and President Trump said he had the damn vaccine before he was sworn in. So, you know, so he said he's either lying or his mind's gone. And we all know it's the mind's gone. He forgot when he got vaccinated.
He didn't really say, you know, a bad word against him.
He doesn't have. He said it in a very. He said. Now again, I'm talking about this at the top of the hour. I heard President Trump with Harris Faulkner. Heard that entire interview. I heard the entire one with Greg Kelly. I just heard a little bit of the Hannity one. Did it not seem that that especially with, did you hear the Harris Faulkner interview?
I did not.
Oh, it was great. It was the best. It was the best. She was telling President Trump how her mother loves him, and she was really saying, "I love you." You know, I'm sure her mother loves him too. But he was treated. That was the first time that he was treated as kind of like the elder statesman, as a president. They always treat him like a jerk in the mainstream media, which includes Fox News as mainstream media. By the way, I bet you Hannity was pissed that Greg Kelly got his interview up first.
You know, fun rivalries, but
he's running again. This is what I think President Trump's doing. President Trump, he's going to back a whole bunch of good people to get in the primaries for the midterms to get rid of all these rhino lowlives, right? And and after that incredible wave of Trumplicans in the congressional midterm elections, and maybe some governors here and there, he's going to on that victory, he's going to announce he's running.
On that, I think from the vibe I got last night, he's like, there's a lot to be said in the near future, but I got the vibe that he is going to.
Of course he is. I've always known he was, but I knew on President's when I was up there at President's Day, and 50,000 people, probably more, are up there on President's Day with him not even there. He came by, but no one knew he was going to come by. I knew even if he didn't come by, he would know what happened there because he knows everything that's going on, especially down the street from his house. That of course he's going to run. What former president has people turn out like that? President's Day was a historic event. A historic event. All right, hey, listen, Michigander, thank you for the call. All right, good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning.
Hey, Doug, you got to get off the speakerphone, man.
Oh, hold on.
Yes, you, me, and the 85,000 people out there. Yeah, hey, all right, go ahead.
That better?
Yes, that's better, yes.
Okay, sorry. What a terrible loss losing Rush. I became conservative because of Rush Limbaugh. And, at least when Trump came out, it helped ease the pain. This is terrible. We lost one of the greatest people in this country, and I don't know who's going to replace him, but we're going to be hurting for quite a while.
Well, I'll tell you, I was very surprised when I got the news yesterday, and people may think that sounds nuts, but, when I would listen to him on the radio recently even, you wouldn't even know the man was sick.
I was thinking that, wow, with all his influence and money, he's probably getting what they give Carter. Carter had.
They all try it. I mean, look, Andy Kaufman going out to the, wherever he went. It's what it is. But for him, this last year, going and President Trump said the last 6 months he's been really sick. You could not hear it in his voice on the air. And not only did he sound great, he had great insight, great analysis, just like a normal day for him. It takes a tremendous amount of work and energy to do a 3-hour radio show, and to do it when you're going through cancer treatment and you've got a terminal diagnosis. That's even beyond. I couldn't imagine.
I don't know what they were giving him, but he was able to function. Unbelievable. My mother died of cancer, and she was on morphine. She used to say, "God forgot me." This is.
Well, I think that it's possible. We don't know for sure, but it's possible that the radio show kept him going for 6 months, that he maybe not have.
Mind over matter, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of. But anyway, I thought you were 100% right on what they're doing in Texas. And Texas is certainly being penalized for being Republican, and. It's fun.
I don't know why it happened. I don't know if it's I know it's a Republican state, but not all of it is. It's a big state. Like Florida's a Republican state, but the community I'm in this part of Florida is very Democrat. So I don't know if it's Greg Abbott's fault. I don't know if Cruz has left to Cancun. I don't think he should be doing that if he did. But I do know this, that every time there's a tragic story about a death or suffering in Texas, there's a high five being done at the newsrooms of the mainstream media and among Democrats, because that's one more step closer to turning Texas blue.
Yes, and they're so obvious in the way they work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Hey, Doug, take care. Thanks for the call. I was over at Friendly Tire yesterday talking to Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. And he had a set of brand new run flats that were going to be put on a listener's car. And any of you ever have run flats? Oh man, I used to have a Mini Cooper. When Mini Coopers first came out, I was like the only one that had them. Now everybody's got them, so I don't have a Mini Cooper now. And I was so excited because when I got the Mini Cooper, it had run flats. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Until I had to go buy a tire. Oh my goodness. If you've got run flats, it's not fun to buy new tires, is it? And sometimes you got to buy new tires. Well, at Friendly Tire in Margate, they have the lowest prices on tires anywhere, including run flats. And the run flats that he was offering to this one gentleman, this one listener, half the price of what you would get elsewhere. And also, brand new run flats, by the way. No matter what tires you're buying, used tires, new tires, specialty tires, at Friendly Tire in Margate, the price of the tire is what they charge you. It doesn't charge you to mount the tire, doesn't charge you to balance the tire, none of that stuff. And you hear me talk about the great deals that I've gotten on my Explorer. I had to get new tires for my Explorer after Champagne Auto got it running for me again. Lowest price that I could find for those tires was $175. Friendly Tire, $75 a tire. Brand new tires, out the door and on the road because there's no added fees. All right, that's absolutely amazing. I know, $100 savings. $100 savings. It's absolutely amazing. Steve took his son Tyler's car over there to Friendly Tire to get new tires. $165 a tire was the lowest price we could find anywhere else. $75 a tire, brand new, out the door and on the road. A $90 savings per tire, out the door and on the road, brand new tires. So, by the way, they got all the brands that you know and love. They've got the Goodyear, the Firestone, the Bridgestone. You can get all those over there. They have an incredible selection of used tires, thousands of used tires in stock that are at very, very low prices as well. In fact, starting just $30 a tire on used tires. But those new tire prices, these prices can't be beaten anywhere. I've been a customer there for many, many years. And I know a lot of you are, because when I stop in, if I'm either running into a listener or I'm running into some tires that are waiting for a listener to have installed on their car, give Friendly Mike a call, 954-977-9445, 954-977-9445, online friendlytire.net. And tell Mike that you heard about him on the radio. All right, just got a message from Steve. Steve will be joining us after the top of the hour break. So we'll get Steve's thoughts on Rush. There's one opening on the board at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. All right, listen, we'll finish up on our break. We'll be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how? By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus?
Be right back, guys.
Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandal.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
South of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for www.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. Steve will be joining us. I don't think he's there yet. Are you with us, Steve? Not quite yet. Okay, Steve will be joining us after. Are you ready? Okay, you're ready. Steve's ready. Caught you off guard, Steve. I'm sorry. But we got you. Well, we other than the first couple of calls in the first hour who were really vile, low-life people, we've heard from a lot of nice people today about Rush, and we got a full board right now talking about it. But did you catch Trump last night on TV?
Caught it all.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's go back to our phones then. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's K-A-N-E and the number 1. And you're on the radio. What's your name?
Hello, Brian. This is Rolanda. I just wanted to say this for Rush. This last few months and days, I really began to appreciate him. You know, we all know how he lives, but I tell you, he's also a model for how to go out. And I admire a person who is so in love with the way he was with his audience. And I do believe this, because he communicated it. He was very much in love with what he did. He loved the people that he talked to. And I tell you, I really, and I know I'm just wondering if he's listening, but I tell you, I really appreciated him these last few days and years.
Yeah.
When he was talking in December, I've been around death so much, you know, these past few years. People who are dying and whatnot, in that respect. And you know when you're about to drop off, when you're about to leave. I felt that with Rush around December.
Mm-hmm.
They really, I tell you, most people I know who've had lung cancer, they're holding tight as the oxygen becomes their girlfriend or boyfriend, and I didn't see how he could do a show. But I tell you,
no, it's amazing what, and not only do the show, he didn't even sound ill. You know, did you catch Greg Kelly with President Trump last night? You caught it, Steve? Okay, I thought I might have misheard President Trump on this, and I'll throw this out to you guys. Now, everybody knows that President Trump gave him the medal, right? I thought I heard President Trump say that Rush didn't know he was going to get it that night until he announced it. That he really surprised him with it. I did not know that. I thought he flew there knowing he was going to get it. Oh my goodness. So I mean, that look on his face means a lot more than it did before. I mean, I knew he was emotional. I figured he was just emotional because of his health, but he was really genuinely surprised. That's amazing. And another thing I heard President Trump say, this was with Harris Faulkner, who did a very good Harris Faulkner did a very good interview with President Trump yesterday. I was amazed. Because she's got a lot of problems usually, but she did very. What I heard President Trump say to her that surprised me is he hasn't known Rush that long. That they only met each other and knew each other since he came down the escalator. I assume they've known each other forever because they both lived out on Palm Beach. You know, so that surprised me too. But yeah.
I would like to give him another shout out, because sometimes we as women can be, not all women, we can be so overbearing and especially feminist. This is the first man to call them what they were, radical feminists, feminazis.
Feminazis, yeah.
I said, man, this guy, I tell you, I miss him already. I really do, as a voice.
Yeah.
He had to go. He knew he was leaving, and I tell you, he gave us all courage to stand up to the powers that be. He wasn't in a bow tie. He wasn't the Billy Crystals of this world or the Georgia Wills, but he was unique in his own.
Mm-hmm. No. Well, let me tell you, I'm not sharing these things on the. I know a lot of people will do this. I'm not going to do this today because I don't think it's appropriate. But I have seen what mainstream liberal
church, but I say to visit her, she needs to get so much. That woman has so much anger enraging her. It's terrible.
Well, the way she talked about Rush yesterday is, I will not play it for you. It's not appropriate, and it was, yeah, and some of the hashtags that are trending among mainstream people on Twitter. I mean, I can't. I'm in shock at some of the things I'm reading.
And our country has.
I mean, I asked a caller earlier. They didn't have an answer, but what person, as all this hate towards Rush, name a person he ever hurt.
No, he didn't ever hurt anybody. As a matter of fact, it's going to be leveled at anybody, Brian, who stands for the right, who stands up for being decent, who stands for anything, who stands for something.
Yeah.
So that's more than themselves.
Yeah.
So sad that we got a president.
Well, all right, Rolanda, appreciate that. We're losing the connection. Appreciate the call. We have time for one or two more calls before the top, so let's squeeze them in. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, this is Mike from North Dakota.
Hey, Mike.
Just wanted to talk about the electric company had called, and they had said that we are cutting power the town is cut into sections, so it says each section is going to be cut off from power for 2 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Throughout the day to save power to send to Texas. I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty interesting to see, or to hear, and because I have a lot of friends that live in Texas as well, and it's just bad.
Well, what I was talking about earlier, things in Texas are bad. I don't think people realize how bad it is. If you go and look at some of the local news in Texas, it is horrific, and I haven't heard any calls for Biden to do a damn thing. What's going on in the media and what's going on with the Democrats is, they got animals dying in the zoo. They've got hospitals without heat because the system's overloaded. They want Texas to suffer. If that means death, they want it to suffer because they think it'll turn Texans against the Republicans and will turn Texas blue in the next election. And no matter how much suffering they have to go through, turning Texas blue is a number one top priority. And every time there's a tragic story, a death or some other suffering in Texas, liberals somewhere are high-fiving.
Exactly. And you're exactly right.
And it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's just a different, the Democrats are just a different breed of people, they talk about...
Well, they're godless. They're godless people.
Yeah. Well, they talk about they want to love everyone, yet only if it fits their agenda, their narrative, that they will love you. But other than that, we like you exactly said, we don't care what's happening to Texas until they...
Well, I don't know why, I don't know, Texas is a big state, okay? And this story about windmills that are frozen and all this stuff, it's a big state, but huge chunks of it are liberal, okay? Huge chunks of it are Democrat. So I don't know if the windmills are in Democrat areas or if that's why the whole thing's happening. I know that there's a natural disaster going on, and even here in Florida, we'll have power grids that are overwhelmed during heat waves with air conditioning, and and now the power grids are being overwhelmed with the demand for heat. So these things happen, but where's the media calling on Biden to get his walker out and do something, as opposed to going around looking at decorations at the White House? Are you my mommy? Is it ice cream day? It's ridiculous. All right, take care. Real quick, we got a break.
Just want to say rest in peace, Rush, and Trump will be waiting for you in 2024.
Yes, that's right. All right, we'll take our break for the top. Steve is here, and you going to share some thoughts after the break, Steve, on Rush? Because you know him. You knew the guy.
Let's just go straight.
Okay. I didn't think you would be here today. I thought you were going to take the day off.
Almost didn't, and then this damn conscience I've got.
No, yeah, that thing that Democrats don't have. You have a conscience.
I remembered I was a role model for my sons, so I got out of bed, and here I am.
Okay, now listen, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. There's one opening on the board where I was just talking to the guy from, I don't know if he was from North or South Dakota, from the Dakotas. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1 is our number, 888-465-2631. Third hour begins now.
That you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Brian Craig here. I've been telling you for years how great MyPillow products are. But don't just take my word for it. This is one of our listeners, Todd. He bought the MyPillow mattress topper, and he called us live on the radio to tell us about his experience with the MyPillow mattress topper.
Yeah, I'm calling you testimonial about my MyPillow topper.
You ordered the MyPillow, the mattress topper?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, I was thinking about buying a new mattress because my old mattress was getting old. So my wife's like, why don't you try that pillow, that mattress top? So I went on, I used your promo code Kane. I got a great price. Got it home, and I've been using it for the last 3 nights. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
It feels like a whole new mattress.
I talked to other listeners with the MyPillow mattress topper, and they come in all sizes. The mattress companies have turned into con artists. When I was a kid, mattresses were two-sided. You'd have the mattress, then after a while you'd flip it over. Now you can't flip mattresses anymore. They don't make them that way anymore because people weren't buying mattresses enough. So the mattress company stopped making two-sided mattresses, and mattresses are expensive. I've had to buy a new mattress, and mattresses can cost well over, just for a regular normal mattress, over $1,000. So that MyPillow mattress topper is a big savings. It saved you from buying a new mattress and turn your whole bed into a MyPillow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I really love it. I sleep really good.
Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate that. You guys out there, remember, promo code Kane, K-A-N-E.
Now, when you use the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com, save 30% off your MyPillow mattress topper and receive 2 free MyPillows. But you got to use the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. 30% off the MyPillow mattress topper. Turn your old mattress into a big MyPillow mattress. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888. That's 1-888-GO.
All right, third hour has begun, 5 after 8. Steve Kane here, I'm Brian, and we'll go back to the calls in just a moment. So if you're on hold, stand by. One opening at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. So Cuomo's under FBI investigation for the nursing homes. I hope it's not the same FBI investigators that investigated Hunter's laptop, but but what do you think?
Finally got around to investigating somebody.
Well, they need to come with there's lots of investigations, but nothing comes to a conclusion unless it's against Trump and they clear him. But there's something different about Cuomo. I mentioned this the other day on Mondays, but this is an important thing. Kamala Harris is acting as president of the United States right now. A lot of people don't know this. She's been making phone calls to heads of state because Biden can't, and things like this. Kamala Harris plans on being the Democrat nominee in 2024 because she knows that Joe ain't going to be able to run. And she's got a lot of power and influence now in the executive branch. And Kamala Harris wants this investigation into Cuomo to take him out of the running so she doesn't face him as a primary opponent. And I know a lot of you think, oh, he's done. Well, he's still a Democrat, and Democrats are very forgiving when their people do things like even kill Grandma and Grandpa. So Kamala Harris wants this investigation to have a proper conclusion, which is that there's a lot of criminal activity like lying to the feds and cooking the books and doing these other things. So this may be one of the first high-profile Democrat investigations that might actually turn out the right way with some indictments. Cuomo's in big trouble. He's got Kamala after him. He's got the FBI after him. and his staff are turning against him, so he's in trouble.
Go by the what you hear on the radio. It's more that he's in trouble. They've turned on him.
They've turned on him, yeah.
And every report I hear about New York and Cuomo, and of course the problem with the with the
nursing homes
and nursing homes, they all seem to take the theme that his constituents have given up on him.
Yeah, and you know who else has turned on him? You know who else turned on him yesterday? This was huge. CNN turned on Cuomo. They told Fredo that he can no longer interview his brother. So that he's lost CNN now. And when you're a Democrat and CNN cuts you off like that, you're in trouble. There you go. Yeah. So he, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. It was those press conferences that did him in. He was on his high horse on those press conferences, and he made himself the face of all of this, and then it's backfired on him. He did himself in. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name?
Oh, thanks, Mike. It's just a question about our great president, Donald Trump.
Yeah, you're on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really don't think he's going to run in 24 unless we take back the Senate and the House, because he don't want to be neutered by these.
No, this is what he's doing. He talked about this with Faulkner. He talked about it with Greg Kelly, and it came out earlier in his letter this week, his love letter to Mitch McConnell. He's backing a whole bunch of primary people to primary out these rhinos and traitors. Okay, and if he has a huge victory in the midterm congressional races, he'll announce the next day he's running. That's the plan. But
he needs to get back the House and get rid of Pelosi and Schiff.
Well, if he can't win back the House, we only need like 2 seats, right? He'll determine that he can't win the presidency, I guess, and not run then. But he's running, and he's going to have a massive midterm victory. And the 50,000 people turned out for him when I was up there the other day. Yeah, former president, one term, he's got over 50,000 people when he's not even there on President's Day. Come on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they will next time. All right. You're on. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. Once, twice. Yes, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Yes.
Hi, it's the little lady. Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I just wanted to do my condolences for Rush Limbaugh's family. It's hard. I lost 2 siblings for smoking, and that's all I could say.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
My sister, she was 42, and she died of smoking. She worked for the city of Boca Raton, and my other sister lived in New Jersey, and she died of COPD. She was about 57.
Yeah.
It's not a very, when you start to see these siblings die when they move to treatment, it's not very pretty. It's not. But my condolences.
Well, let me tell you, I've had people in my immediate family die. It's smoking related. My stepfather, my grandmother, and out of everyone that's died in my family, the worst deaths have been the ones that are caused by smoking, because it's always a long-suffering, painful, miserable way to go. All right, take care. She's losing it there. All right, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Brian, I heard that Rush slipped on a pile of his own feces and hit his head. That's how he died. Is that true?
What do you think?
Well, I also heard that maybe Steve might...
Oh my gosh! See what you got to deal with, people. Democrats. You know, who does that? And I got to tell you, that was the third call like that today, and I cut him off before he got to his grand finale. He must be upset. You should lead with the grand finale next time, jerk, if you make it through. There's been 3 people now that have said terrible things today. Terrible things, especially the first one. Oh, it was around 6:30 today. I mean, it was awful. What makes these people even worse than the typical is they know that our radio stations are within the listening range of Rush's home, and that people that know him intimately, family, people that work for him, might be listening. You know what I mean? What they're doing isn't just some nasty thing to say. They're trying to hurt people. You know? And it's Democrats are just... If you're a Democrat out there, these are your people. Really reflect on how you vote in your party affiliation. I mean, and this is a serious question. When's the last time you met a Democrat who was a decent person? I can't think. What about you, Steve? You know any decent Democrat?
My sister.
Oh, she's some old 60s hippie, probably smoked weed for 50 years. I give her a break. Flower children don't smoke weed?
Wasn't a smoke.
Oh my God, I was going to blame drugs. Well, I blame California on her. Okay, so you know one. It is an ill. Yeah, maybe we should take pity on him. But what is it about? Let me ask you this, because maybe you got an answer, because I don't have it. Why are liberals saying such terrible things about a person who just passed away like that? Why do they do that?
I can give you my theory. I think it's because this whole thing culminating in I think they're starting to get a picture of what the future holds for them, and it's kind of bleak. I think we're in new territory now in terms of elections.
Yeah. Well, when I heard Trump yesterday, I mean, he's got a plan. I mean, and he even talked about negotiating with deals with new social media platforms, and maybe even starting his own. So he's been, yeah.
That I picked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Politically, for the opposition, and right now, I wouldn't want to be a Democrat. I really.
And you know they really ignored, for the most part, Rush and his passing on CNN and MSNBC. You know, they really didn't cover it that much, and I'm assuming there's going to be some type of public memorial that should be televised. You know, and I don't think CNN and MSNBC will carry it, because they don't want to give sympathy to someone who was a conservative. And if they show it, President Trump would probably be a part of it. If they show it, it would show sympathy to a conservative, and they just don't want that to their viewers. The Democrats don't seem like that the future of the Democrat Party is looking good. You're right about that, or they wouldn't be so miserable. Well, that's what happens when you elect an old racist man who's suffering from some type of cognitive decline, where he forgot he got an injection, and all this stuff. That's what happens. I mean, maybe they should have elected someone who had their wits about them. All right, listen, we'll take our break. I can cue it up. I don't have it in my hands right now, but I can cue it. Let's play it after the next break. I'll have it queued up for the next break. All right, if you're on hold, don't go anywhere. I didn't take any calls for the last couple of minutes. I was waiting for the delay to build back up. I didn't want to take a risk of taking any screenless calls while the delay was not on, because of the last butte that we just talked to. All right, I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane, of course, here. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. We will be back right after this.
FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of
I almost walked away with my mic
made
attached.
specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars.
Steve Kane Show.
Good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will
Hey,
give
Bill,
you
hold
a
on.
great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online
Steve Kane Show.
friendlytire.net.
Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on
Hold on.
Radio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane here. This is the Steve Kane Show. So what do you want to do, Steve? I've got if queued up and or call. What do you want? Okay, now before I play this, I just want to tell you, I did not see what you saw on television, but this is the one that I queued up and played for you over the phone that you said was okay to play. So this is because I don't want you to tell me that's not the one, but this is the one that you approved of. I'll just tell you in advance as I'm queuing it up. So they were playing this on, I guess it was on television all over the weekend for, I guess, President's Day weekend. The Kipling poem If. Radio as well, okay. And a lot of people are connecting If to Donald Trump, which is new to me. I found out about it from you, so here we go. We're all queued up. Yeah.
If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but are none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Okay, that's it, Steve. That's if, and they have a nice video to it that has Donald Trump, and the clips they have a Donald Trump fit with every verse of the poem. It's pretty good actually when you watch it. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In case you hadn't noticed, with the exception of a couple of half-assed morons, people are very, very moved by Rush's passing, and he touched our lives in many ways.
Oh yeah, and you know, and I was some of what the liberals have, and I'm not exaggerating by this, okay. The way Democrats are behaving and the terrible, vile things that they're saying about Rush Limbaugh and his passing is worse than what they said about Osama bin Laden when he died. You know, with the SEAL team. It really is, and I don't think I'm exaggerating by that. If you listen to these people, all right, let's go back to our phones. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Brian?
Yes.
This Bill in Sanford, Florida. Rush did have a $1 million 6-month contract with the Florida Citrus.
1 month, yeah.
And he had the second highest sales, and they didn't renew his contract because of the liberals protesting against him, and he may have been the first canceled.
Well, you know, when they started, well, there were other people before that, but when Florida Orange Juice hired Rush to be their spokesperson, how long did he do it? 6 months. The left and the media had a meltdown, and that's when he first became nationally known and famous at the level he became. You know, it was early on in the Clinton years, early 90s, and I can't remember, maybe you do, what was their specific grievance that they claimed? That they...
Neo-Nazis.
Oh.
That's in...
no, it was the big thing was, the big issue with Rush back, if my mind serves me correctly, was they tried to paint Rush as a homophobe.
Oh, a homophobe. Yeah.
That's where Anita Bryant came in.
Yeah. Was it was it the gays? Maybe it was the gays. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. Well, Florida Orange Juice since then it's not even a thing anymore. I don't even know if we still have orange juice in Florida. There's been, I don't remember another ad campaign or a spokesperson since the one with Rush. Do you?
Rush, they had national attention, and that was worth $1 million that they...
Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, Florida oranges, I don't believe Florida oranges don't have to be grown in Florida. I think it's a breed of orange that they grow in other places, too. I don't know. I may be wrong about that, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so he got the 6 months out of it, and then they dropped him because of the controversy. Yeah. All right. Take care. Take care. You know, every time he made some high-profile business deal, they went out to cancel him. If you remember, right? The NFL, you know, ESPN. I mean, it's a bunch of lowlives. I mean, really. You know, you may not be aware of this, Steve, but I remember this, and there was when Rush first became famous. Okay, I mean, yeah, I know you knew who he was for a long time and stuff, but I mean, like a household name. There was an unauthorized biography of Rush Limbaugh out, and I remember seeing it at Publix, and I was just thumbing through it at Publix, and you were in it. They talked about you in the book. Yeah, your name was in the book. Yeah, Yeah, and I don't think I knew you then, or I didn't know you well, or I would have bought the book and shown it to you. I wish I had it, but if anybody has that book, get in touch with me. I'd like to get it. All right, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, hey, good morning, guys. This is Juan.
Oh, hey, Juan. How you doing?
What's up, Juan?
What I don't understand. How you doing there, Steve?
Excellent.
Good. What I don't understand is, the likes of Sean Hannity, and I think I've even heard you, Brian, and maybe Steve. These liberals use everything in their arsenal. And like Rush Limbaugh used to say, fighting liberalism with half my brains, something to that effect.
Yeah.
And here we are wanting to continue to be decent with these people that have absolutely not one iota of decency. Now, I understand what you said the other day, when you boycott, that the employees are...
No, that's not why. I'll tell you. Something happened on the show today, and Steve and I both had this experience. A woman called up earlier in the show, black woman, and she was raised in I think she said ghetto, very very liberal and everything, and she got introduced by an aunt to Rush, and she became a conservative by listening to him. And when Steve and I do appearances, at most every appearance, at least one person will come up to me and say, I used to be a Democrat, I listened to you guys for 5 years or 2 years, and now I'm a conservative Republican. So, you don't want to start behaving like some of these low-life, vile people I've talked to this morning. You want to be a great example to people. So,
about those lowlights that called earlier today. I'm talking about fighting fire with fire.
Yeah. But you know what though? Like you talk about Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is becoming a cult hero among us. And when they, yeah, well, yeah, the conservatives.
Rush Limbaugh said in his last few days.
Well, there's millions of us too, Juan. There's millions of us too. So what do you want to do? Tell me what you want to do differently. No, because they're more. They're. You heard these callers earlier. They're mental patients. Okay, what we do, what Rush did, what we do, what others like us do, is we don't fight fire with their vile ways. We do it with good arguments and by example. We're not thugs. All right, I don't know what Juan wants us to do. Did we interrupt a conversation? Yes. It sounded like we interrupted a conversation. Caller, you're on the air.
Thank you. This is Jack from Brooklyn.
Yeah, sounded. Yeah, what's up, Jack?
And I just want to tell you quickly about
Michael Savage. I am a follower of his, and I'd like you to know, since his heart attack, he has really mellowed. And please, we should take that into account.
Well, hold on a second. Michael, two things about Savage. A month or two ago, Savage said the most terrible things about Rush Limbaugh and his cancer that I've ever heard a man say publicly. And you know what I'm talking about, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my God. Remember, Steve, we were talking about it at the time. I'm tired of him talking about, go out with dignity. I'm tired of he's jealous of the sympathy calls, I guess.
Brian, everybody has their faults, and I'm sure he has plenty of them. I have, you have, we all have faults. But all I like just to mention, he's really mellowed since he had his heart attack.
Do you know why? I don't listen to Savage too much, but he left radio, and now he's just doing the, podcast. He said when he left radio, he would explain to the listeners why. Has he said why?
No, I followed that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much. I love what you're saying. I love your spontaneity. And I'm a follower of yours from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. That's great. AOC country.
Nice to have you with
Oh, yeah, he's in AOC's district. That's one of AOC's constituents. Oh, my goodness. All right, listen, we'll take our break here at the bottom of the hour. 32 minutes after. I'm Brian, Steve Kane here. Our number 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to any lab test now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to any lab test now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay around for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to any lab test now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any lab test now of Coral Springs.
Oh, Bronx?
Is located at
Oh, I thought she was Brooklyn.
North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsborough. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Hi, this is Dr. Mitchell Matez. I'm excited to announce that my practice has morphed into the BioStation and will be formally known as BioStation West Delray. To all of my existing patients, please be assured that you will continue to receive the same quality and personalized care that you are accustomed to. The only change is to a spectacular new location and an incredible array of anti-aging, health, and wellness modalities. We will be located at Atlantic Avenue and Lyons Road in the Joseph's Market Shopping Center, directly across from the Delray Marketplace. Call me at my new office number, 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Veterans and spouses of veterans, you may be entitled to benefits that you are not aware of, including long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group and find out what benefits are available to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show.
All right. We are back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane here, and our number 1-888-GO-KANE-1. Do you know who S.E. Cupp is, Steve? S.E. Cupp. Oh, my. She's a... Yeah.
On
Well, actually, she was a conservative. I know she talks like a liberal, but she was discovered by Glenn Beck, and now she's on CNN. And I remember Glenn Beck, the first time he had her on, he sounded like the host of The Dating Game. He introduced her. Her name's S.E. Cupp. She likes guns and she hunts, boys. And then he had her on, and she said some conservative things. Now she's over on CNN out of the closet as a liberal, fake conservative, you know. And Biden, you know, we were talking yesterday, Trump was talking about this yesterday, just had this disastrous town hall on CNN when he, you know, forgot he had the vaccine and all that stuff. And S.E. Cupp tweeted about Biden yesterday. Let me end, this is S.E. Cupp, discovered by Glenn Beck, introducing her as a conservative. Let me end the suspense. Biden won't get everything right, and he will do things that I and many people will disagree with. But if you believe we need to make America good again, that's Biden, he's coming from a place of decency and integrity that is paramount and consequent. Is decency when the thing that happened with Tara Reid in the halls of the Senate, or the thing with Corn Pop, or sending or threatening to withhold foreign aid to a nation that's being attacked by Russia unless they get the prosecutor off Hunter's company's back? I mean, what is it? Her definition of decency and integrity are different than mine. I guess she's like an opposite world here. Thank you, Glenn Beck, for discovering and making S.E. Cupp a national figure. Oh my gosh, she used to be on The Blaze and everything with him.
Yeah, I never never quite got her act. I didn't.
With the smart glasses she wears.
Yeah, I didn't think she was particularly good.
No.
She was the shtick with her that she was large-breasted and her cup size.
No, I don't. The only part about her that's large is her rear end, as far as I know. But I don't know. No, it doesn't mean her name's S.E. Cup, not S.E. double D Cup. No, I don't know. But Beck introduced her to the world, made her rich, made her famous, and now she's out of it. Did you hear this thing that happened in New York City? This lesson plan about whiteness. Oh, this is the schools may be shut down, but they're still getting their stuff in the homeschool. Listen to this. A Manhattan public school principal has encouraged the parents of his students to examine their whiteness, particularly as it relates to various white identities, ranging from the full-on white supremacist to the white traitor and white abolitionist. In short, the list is a hierarchy of right and wrong think. The New York City Department of Education confirmed to the New York Post this week that the parents of East Side Community School in Lower Manhattan received literature on the 8 white identities. Yes, which was written by a African American Studies professor from Northwestern. It comes with a helpful meter that shows the range between the white identities from bad red white supremacist to good green sufficiently morally repentant white abolitionist. Between white supremacist and white between white supremacist and white abolitionist on the list are varying degrees of white identities that fail to hit the mark, such as white privilege. And this is, they just can't give up on this racial division crap. I mean,
They got nothing else. That's they always, when push comes to shove, they always go to the race card on the last play.
Yeah.
That's all they got.
Well, Rush always talked about the Democrats have that old playbook that they pull out, and they use the same plays every time. And racial division, that's an oldie but a goodie. That's their favorite. And racism in this country is pretty much over. At least white towards minorities. All I keep hearing with things like this is racially stereotyping white people. You're born racist, and then you have to prove to them that you have, sufficiently given up the way that you were born to be, which is race. I mean, there's nothing more racist than assuming that every white person is racist. Well, it's stupid, but it's damaging, and I think that I think it
damages them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with the schools being closed so long, the Democrats have lost 2 good years of brainwashing. The kids are being raised by their parents the last couple years.
A little bit, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Schools closed.
It's hard to exactly. Yeah, they're being raised by their parents for the first time, and they're not getting all this indoctrination. There was a big. When I saw Trump on TV yesterday, I think we're going to see him on TV all the time now. He did the interviews by the phone, all of them that I saw, and he was commenting not just on Rush but other issues of the day. He doesn't need Twitter or any of that stuff. He's going to be on TV all the time, responding to everything Biden does, and it looks like they love having him on. I think it's awesome. He did great yesterday. He sounded great. And I like that he's been working on plans to get around the social media, censorship.
Talk about landing on your feet. I mean, after that horrible, horrible, traumatic election.
Oh. Lose.
The dust settles, and when the dust settles, for him to be where he is now it tells tale.
Well, they thought. Yeah. They thought, going out after one term was going to be so devastating to his ego that he wouldn't be able to function. Right. They did. And I think him having 2 non-consecutive terms, I think, would be better than having the 2 back-to-back. Because if he comes in 2024 and wins, he'll have such a mandate and such support, and you know what I mean? And he'll not have to worry about re-election, you know? And it'll be, you know, they had a fake news story yesterday that I don't believe. And this was in the mainstream media. I was watching a lot of stuff I don't normally watch, like CNN and MSNBC, because I wanted to hear what they were saying about Rush yesterday. And they said that that they were delaying promotion. This is the story. It's in the New York Times, okay? Last fall, the Pentagon's most senior leaders agreed that two top generals should be promoted to the elite 4-star rank, but they held off on the promotions these were ladies, okay, females. They held off on the promotions for female generals because they feared Trump would have a negative reaction to women being promoted to 4-star general. What the hell? Where did they get that story at, the New York Times?
They made it up.
Yeah, exactly. If
get all their stories.
Trump would do the promotion.
Imagination.
Yeah, Trump would do the promotion himself, and he wouldn't. Now Biden's going to do it. He might sniff their hair when he's putting the stars on their show. What?
Believe we're back to that story. Talk about coming full cycle. My God, he's back to the pervert with the.
Yeah. Well, this story here yesterday was a big breaking story yesterday. They had breaking news: female general promotions delayed over fears of Trump's reaction. What, that he would celebrate women? I mean, what did they? You know, that is such a fake news story that has zero credibility. And they had endless discussion yesterday about this, and they never said what his reaction might have been that would have been so harmful. I think he would have been celebrating the women generals, especially if they're good looking. I don't have pictures of them here. I don't know, but most of the women generals aren't that good looking. You know, but all right. Listen, we'll take our last break of the day. When we get back, it'll be time for the Gold Report. All right. This is the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Steve, of course. Here, we'll take our last break and be back with the Gold Report right after this break.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how? By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors will review your policy at no charge. Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Steve Kane radio listeners love Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca.
I went over to Champagne Automotive, and I got to say that this man is the most fair mechanic I have dealt with in my entire life. We took a car over there that was not being used yet. You know, it belonged to my 90-year-old dad. Everybody I had taken it to before was charging an astronomical amount of money. But when we took it over there, Eddie took a look at it, and I got to say that this man fixed the car. It's running like a charm. Anybody that needs a mechanic, I strongly recommend Eddie, and he is just the best thing that's happened to this family as far as car maintenance goes. It's fixed. Bottom line, it's fixed, and the price was right.
Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca will never do a repair on your car that your car doesn't need. And their prices are low. Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. Give them a call. 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Steve Kane Show.
8101.
Listen to the Steve Kane
Hold on.
Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
And now that exciting moment we wait for each morning on the Steve Kane Show, the Gold Report, brought to you by William Youngerman. William is one of the leading experts in the world when it comes to all of the precious metals. He has been advising clients on trends and movements in the gold and silver and platinum markets. Over 50 years of experience. And people wonder why he's so good. Well, with all that experience, how can you miss? William, how is it looking this morning?
Looking good. The markets have stabilized somewhere around
Steve Kane Show
level for gold, at least at $17.75.
Yeah.
For silver, around $27, with platinum holding well above the $1,200 number. We saw gold down yesterday, closing down $17.60 at that number, 1775.90. Silver was up 13 cents yesterday, closing at $27.34 the ounce, while platinum was down $10 at $12.46, and palladium was down $13 at $22.59. This morning we've got gold up $6.80 right now at $1,782.70. The dollar is weaker again, finding some resistance up around that 91, and it's down now to 90.57 on the U.S. dollar index. Oil is up to $61.60 a barrel right now. Silver down to 14 cents right now at $27.20, while platinum is up $14 at $1,260, and palladium is up $1 at $22.60. So gold is still a good buying option. Under that $10 number, but we'll see where we go from here early, and we'll, I think the couple of days that we had on the downside of the market may have just been a short sleep because of the strength of the U.S. dollar and some reports came out. So that's pretty much where we are so far.
Yeah, now William Youngerman is open weekdays at 10 a.m. till 5. The phone number over there, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, online, williamyoungerman.com. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road, which is just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto on the first floor of the Bank of America building. All right, William Youngerman, we will finish out the week tomorrow. All right, take care, take care. You know, I was just reading the Washington Post, Steve, a liberal rag, and there's a huge article about Mike Lindell from MyPillow. Yeah, and here's the, I'm not going to read through the whole article, but I'll just read you the headline and maybe a couple things about it. But MyPillow boycott, how a product can spark an identity crisis. And it says here that MyPillow Chief Executive Mike Lindell is making life uncomfortable for some of his customers. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find people that are uncomfortable with anything that Mike Lindell has, his pillows and everything. But
fans, Russia's fans, and of course Mike's fans, and all of it, everybody connected to this. When they went after Mike Lindell and tried to put him out of business, those big fancy stores, the ones who ended up suffering was not Mike. The ones that ended up suffering were those people who
Exactly. Exactly.
This is the greatest success of anything we've ever.
And I love these liberals. Damn you, Mike Lindell! I will not have a good night's sleep. I will not sleep on a comfortable pillow just to spite you. These people are out of their minds. But let me tell you this, okay? Out there in this listening audience, Mike Lindell needs your support. Everything MyPillow is made right here in the USA at his factory up in Minnesota. He has hundreds of people that work there in the factory putting the pillows together. And we're coming out of COVID here. We don't want to be boycotting people and hurting people that need jobs. Okay, I know liberals like to apparently Biden and Democrats like during a time of crisis putting people out of work and suffering. If you go to mypillow.com. Every special you see there, no matter what it says, you can take advantage of when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And somebody had asked me a little earlier on a DM on Twitter about the MyPillow bathrobes. I have one. My wife has one. They're 30% off with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. And let me tell you something here about the bathrobe. I have worn fancy bathrobes on our cruises. They give you robes, right, Steve, in the cabins, and I've used some fancy robes in fancy hotels. I've never had a robe as soft and as comfortable as the MyPillow bathrobe. And like everything else, MyPillow, it's 100% machine washable. And I wore it on the show one day. A couple weeks ago, and because it was here at the radio station, I washed it when I went home and put it in the dryer because it had been exposed to the germs of the radio station. You don't usually take your bathrobe to work with you, but I do. And when I popped it out of the dryer, it was good as new. I mean, just like the day that it arrived in the mail. And one thing about the MyPillow product, Steve, everything I've had. I got the robes, I got the pillows, I've got the sheets, I've got the pet bed. Everything you've got the weighted blanket, which is 30% off. Every product that Mike Lindell produces is incredibly high quality. I mean, high quality. These things come with 10-year warranties because they're high quality and made to last. So go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Kane at checkout. Don't let JCPenney and Bed Bath & Beyond and the Washington Post do anything to hurt Mike Lindell or his employees, because he supports Trump. Use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone. Okay, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. You know, I told you when you started, Steve, I didn't think you were going to be here today because you were so upset about Rush. I didn't think you'd want to deal with it or talk about it. You know.
You know, it's part of life, I guess.
Well.
I've never seen anything like it. It's, you know, one of the things when you work in the business is, on occasion, you're called upon to work when you're sick. Maybe you've got the flu, maybe you've got a hangover, whatever. And working when you're sick is very, very difficult. And Rush was unbelievable. I mean, that's where I take my hat off to him. I mean, I've worked sick. I've tried to work sick. It's very difficult to keep up the of your work when you're just not feeling well.
Oh, the treatment.
And I was listening to the last day. I'd love to know what the sequence was on the last day, because it seems like he recorded it on the day of his passing.
Yeah. Well, I remember, you know, years ago, a few years back, you had the prostate cancer, and you went through that radiation treatment for the prostate. And I saw what it took a toll on you, I mean, energy-wise, you know, and I imagine he was getting higher doses of radiation because he had a big thing, and he was still able to do the show. And that's a miracle that he did that. Yeah. And sound great doing it. You know, that was amazing. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, Brian. Hey, Steve. I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the tributes to the great Rush Limbaugh. I mean, he was the best conservative talk show guy, and definitely learned a lot from him. And
We'll try not to take that. We'll try not to take that personally.
Hey, Steve. Did you ever get to meet him before, Steve?
Yes, I worked with him at ABC.
You've been out. You've socialized with. You've socialized with him. Been out to eat with him.
Dinner in New Jersey. He had a car and driver driving him around, and invited me to dinner one night spontaneously. We went across the bridge to New Jersey to a great steakhouse. I don't remember the name of it, but the food was spectacular.
Yeah.
He's just a warm and wonderful guy, and what you see was what you got, and it was a privilege.
The dinner I would be more interested in is the dinner you had with Stan Lee, the creator of Spider-Man, and Al Goldstein. What was Stan Lee hanging out with Al Goldstein for? And you. Take care, caller. Yeah. Yeah, right. I was just watching last night Captain America, and they had the cameo with Stan Lee, and I was thinking about you being out to dinner with him, with Al Goldstein. Oh, look who we have on the line. Richard Pearl, the host of Richard Pearl on Politics, which follows the Steve Kane Show every weekday at 9 a.m. on this radio station. What do you have on the plate today, Richard Pearl?
Well, yesterday I talked a little bit about, because it was breaking news at the time that he had died, and I'm going to do a whole thing on him, and also the leftist view of intolerance towards him and towards us. And we're going to go into great detail about that. I'm also going to talk about some of the nutrients he could have taken. I reached out to people trying to get a hold of Rush, because I work with a lot of people who have cancer. I don't make any claims, no guarantees, nothing like that. But what you want to do is always make any kind of cancer in the environment inhospitable to the cancer. Cancer is like disease. And if you make the environment that you raise the oxygen level, raise the talk a little bit about that. People don't realize how important certain nutrients are when you have a lung cancer. And vitamin D is at the top of the list because genes get mutated and they affect cancers. And certain estrogens also affect lung cancer. It's one of the reasons why women get more of the cancer than men from secondary smoke. And there's a lot of things you can do to boost your immunity. Things like Noxolene 4 double strength, or taking B17, or taking something that brings up the oxygen levels, or things that bring down inflammation. There's things that get rid of the acrylamides and other compounds in your lungs that shouldn't be there. People who smoke, they stop smoking. They still have all this buildup of heavy metals and other toxins that damage the lining of the lungs, and it festers. And there's so many things that people can take to boost their immunity, not just related to lung cancer, but all types of cancers. And detoxing is a big part of it. So we're gonna discuss it very carefully. I'm gonna kind of dance around the edges on the radio show about it because it's not something I want to talk about on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well. Listen. Time is short. Now, listen. Richard Pearl. His show is up next, so do not touch that radio dial. He'll be following the Steve Kane Show as he does every weekday immediately when we say goodbye at 9 a.m. His store, Simply Natural, is located in Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. Open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. And the phone number is 954-741-4045. All right, Richard Pearl, have a great show. We'll be listening, and we'll talk tomorrow to finish out the week. All right, take care, Steve. You're going to sign us off, Steve?
Thank you for having joined us. And what is, turned into a tremendous tribute for Rush. And believe you me, there's no one in the business deserves it more than Rush does. Anyway, we will see you tomorrow morning. Lots of things will be on the plate. We'll be talking a little more about Cuomo's problems in New York and elsewhere. And we'll just try to get over this thing with Rush as much as you can. So until tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., on behalf of my son, Tyler, who is our technical director here on the Steve Kane Show, my producer, Brian Craig, and of course you know me, Steve Kane. See you tomorrow. God bless America.
You covered AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network, WWNN, Pompano Beach.
All right. Hey, guys, if you're new here, please subscribe. Click that notification bell. And everyone in there, give me a thumbs up and share this video. Thumbs up, sharing the video. And you know what helps a lot, too? Leaving comments in the video. Not just the chat, but leaving all that stuff helps get the word out and gets the video recommended to more and more people like us that think like us and that would love this show if they only knew about it, right? So all these things I ask you to do: subscribe, like, notifications, comment, share. All that helps the videos that I do get recommended to more people that are conservative Trump people that may not know about the show. So that's why I ask you all to do that. And those of you that do, I really do appreciate it. All right, guys. Hey, listen, look out for my podcast later on today with my wife, Kathy. Thanks for watching.